Good evening, everybody. Welcome to tonight's show. There'll be no intro music tonight, no clips, nothing. It's a different kind of show. I'm going to probably get into it pretty quick because we are on a tight schedule. I may have been a little overambitious booking this. When I started this channel, I had an idea to do something like this, and it's taken a little while to put it all together. So let's just see how it goes. It might be a total complete and utter shit show, or it might be pretty fun. Who knows? Let's quickly just have a look in the chat and say hi to everybody. Won't spend as much time doing it as I normally do. We got Nobi Comics. Wonder if that Nobi guy will call in. I hear he's pretty cute. Off Larry. By the way, get Niobe November 10th at your local shop for $4.99 with exciting comments, number 17. Vicky, obviously, I think that's pretty funny. We got Horje, Big Daddy, welcome guys. Ahoy, Jack Stafford, Stu, Chris, Amit Rayner. Oh, wait, what's he got? This is going to be great. Someone in CG is going to hate Smug after this show. Bring on the hate. Well, this isn't, it's not going to be a dunk on CG stream. It's some issues, some data that I've been looking at, that I've seen other people look at and talk about. We're just going to be discussing it and seeing what people think. We've got creators, critics, customers. It's going to be open to everybody. We have Vilnerd, ... I know how you feel, Vilnerd. This could be terrible. Ahoy, hoy, ninjas. Risey Lee, my main man. Helmet Korgsten, good evening from Germany, coming over from NASA's channel. Okay, cool. NASA was a guest, but he actually pulled out. So, but we'll talk about that in a sec. Earthmine says he's looking forward to it. I'm not Earthmine. This could be a disaster. Hey, Donut Swan, Raiden Radio, welcome. Hargrave, Yucky Gum. The Reddit Silver member, 14 dislikes in under 30 seconds. Could be a pos show record. This show deserves every dislike. Arrogant Ape says, hi there. We got Spirit Scar, Distant Warrior. Great. We got D-Shot. Get out of here, D-Shot. Go back to bed. El Hombre. And I think that's everybody. So let's get right into it, guys. So this will be let me just bring it up for a moment. I'm all over the place. I've got more tabs open right now than Alassie Affairs. This is the schedule. I didn't have time to update it. Obviously, we'll be starting now at 9 p.m. Eastern with myself, talking about Creator Go numbers, Substack, NFTs, publishers moving into crowdfunding, and dead subs and channels, which I think is going to be one of the major issues that we're talking about. Then we're going to be joined by Dean, Vicky, and Chris T to talk about from being critics to commentators, ceasing to cover CG, overdue books, and warming up to Comicsgate. The segment here with NASA and John De La Rose is actually cancelled. NASA is busy, John's busy. So, yeah, we'll be skipping ahead there. Then we're going to be joined by, at 9:30 now, I guess, Mike S. Miller, Doug T., and maybe Edwin Boyette. Edwin said he'd probably pop in, but he hasn't got back to me. But Doug and Mike both confirmed they will be joining us to talk about crowdfunding outside of Comicsgate and NFTs, which I think is really interesting. I think the NFT talk, I know a lot of you guys probably don't think so, but I think NFTs are a game changer. Then we had Ro and Pan. Ro doesn't appear to be coming, but Pan will be coming. And we're going to be talking about the loss of promotion for smaller creators after War Campaign left Comicsgate, which we'll get into pretty early as well. I've got some data. And we'll also be talking about Black Dragon Comics and Bullet Maker. Liam Gray was also scheduled to appear. I haven't heard back from him. He told me he was interested several days ago. He hasn't got back to me. We'll see if he pops in. I hope he does make an appearance, but we'll see what happens there. Then we'll be joined by Commie Mark, also can't make it, but I've invited LordCrackHead. He's a great guy, so he'll be filling in for Commie Mark. Dark Gift, Lord Finatra, and Michael Bancroft to offer their perspective from the Comicsgate side on the issues and, I guess, meta topics we'll be talking about tonight. And then, of course, we've got a select few customers, D-Shot, Amit Rayner, Morg, Stupendus, and Mecha, who will be giving us a perspective on customer issues like overdue books, pricing, shipping, and their thoughts and opinions. And after that, I'll be dropping the StreamYard link in the chat and bringing on anyone who wants to, really. It'll be styled like the old, if you used to watch Liam Gray, he used to do a live stream called CG Core, where he'd have 6 people on at a time. It won't be the 10-person call-in chaos that just seems to abound these days. I'm trying to structure this stream a little bit more professionally. But so that is the agenda or itinerary. First, though, we're going to be looking at Creator Go. So this is Creator Go. It's a part of the Comicsgate.org website. It tracks a lot of Comicsgate campaigns and friendlies. And it's a really interesting site and resource. I only found out about it several months ago. And it's probably a good thing. So here you can see all campaigns. There's been 314 Comicsgate campaigns from 2020 to 2021, because this site was only made last year. So a lot of the data doesn't go back to 2019 or 2018. And Comicsgate has raised over $11 million, which is pretty impressive. That number is actually probably higher when you consider the totals from 2019 and 2018. So Comicsgate has probably earned well over $11 million. This is the stats for last year. There was 140 campaigns raising nearly $6 million. And these are the stats now for this year, and they've raised, well, technically they've raised $5 million, but 4.2 for campaigns of this year. And you'll notice here that there was 140 campaigns last year, but this year there's been an increase to 168, and the year isn't even over. And I think this is both a good thing and a bad thing, because it's increasing competition. And if you scroll down here, you'll notice that the majority of these campaigns, if I just keep scrolling, the site's a bit strange, bear with me. It's only the top 67 campaigns that earn over $10,000. And the majority of these Comicsgate campaigns earn under that, which is kind of alarming, because I'm not sure how much a book costs to make. I suppose if you're the creator, artist, letterer, writer, you're doing everything, you could learn to work within those margins. But I'm just wondering if some of these people haven't bit off a little more than they can chew, and we might have some sob stories in a few years when some of these books come time for fulfillment. Because as you can see, I mean, a couple of $100 here, 1,000. I just hope a lot of these guys won't end up like Critias. But moving on, you'll also notice that I mentioned the top 67 were the only ones to earn over $10,000. This is kind of strange to me, because if you've been following Comicsgate for as long as, I guess, most people, since 2018, you'll know that one of the really, I guess, fabulous and miraculous things about Comicsgate is that you can have a creator that hasn't been a professional. They can come into Comicsgate with a good book. You may have never heard of them before, and they can easily earn upwards of tens of thousands of dollars, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I'll show you what I mean. So here back in 2018, you might remember this book, Ravage, Kill All Men, by Big Ben Henderson. No one had heard of this guy before. He came in, raised $47,000. You had Antonio Bryce, Brand, $78,000. Detective Dead, Critias, I'm sure you all are well aware of this book, $38,000 for a guy nobody knew. Martina Makota, I guess she did have a presence outside of comics, but yeah, she also raised $54,000 having no prior experience. John Delarose, $31,000. Even Nasa Rabodi, $15,000, which is all pretty impressive. Like at the time, these are all large campaigns, and it was pretty unheard of for crowdfunded comics to earn this much money. Then it continued into 2019. You have Sovereign, $40,000. Vestige by War Campaign, six figures for a group of guys that started out in the chat, put out a book, and made over $100,000, having no prior experience in the industry. You had Von Klaus, again, $100,000. Monster MD, Shinobi Sasquatch, $80,000. Starblades with Kyle Ritter. This one, obviously, Kyle had worked on other books before, but $200,000. And it didn't stop there. This trend continued on into 2020. You had Liam Gray, 100,000 Australian dollars. Michael Bancroft, 60,000 Australian dollars. Peregrine by Graded Point 5, 50,000 US dollars. The Dragon Guard, Kevin Sharp, 50,000. Camel Moon's Hail Salad, 50,000. Charlie's London, 55,000. And Kozor, $41,000 dues for the Barton brothers. All extremely impressive. You have to admit, for coming into a movement like Comicsgate and being able to raise this amount of money, it is something special, and something that I think does need to be recognized. And also Shadow Sentry, $25,000. But one thing I've noticed, and I'll go back to it, is if you look at the numbers for this year, the averages almost seem down. Because if we scroll up to the top, you'll see a lot of the industry professionals are making the big bank, and YouTubers like Clownfish and Stealing Solo guys, world-class bullshitters. I'm just wondering, where are those little guys? You know, where are the first-time creators in 2021 coming in and making Liam Gray numbers or making Sovereign numbers? You know, 40, 50, $60,000. Maybe some of these guys are, but when I just look at it, it just all seems to be either established YouTubers or pros, and I think that's a little upsetting. It's losing a little bit of the magic in Comicsgate, I think. Just my opinion. But and I've been wondering and racking my brains like why this is. Obviously, there's been a lot of horror stories. I mean, we can go back to Detective Dead here. Maybe customer confidence on a lot of these first-time creators has fallen. You've got Detective Dead's not fulfilled, Lady Alchemy, Sovereign. So maybe the Comicsgate customer is guarding his wallet a little more and not willing to risk on guys that are first time coming in just from these stories where they haven't got their books almost years later and probably never will. It also could be a promotional issue, and I've got this here. This is the Dead Subs calculator. It was released by a university, and it calculates the dead subscriber base for a YouTube channel. And I've got the top 20 YouTube channels here. Lord Finatra, you made the cut at number 20. But you can see here, it gets their subscribers, it grabs the average views per video, and then you'll see down here an active subscriber base and a dead subscriber base. So Lord Finatra has a dead subscriber base of 21%, which is actually pretty good and one of the higher numbers. If we scroll up, you'll see we've got Patrick Thomas Parnell, dead subscriber base 76%, Nasser Abadi, dead subscriber base 83%, Michael Bancroft, dead subscriber base 80%, Graham Nolan 80%, Red Gaze 34%. So Red Gaze is a lot more healthier than the other channels. Camel Moon's doing really well, and this is because he's probably getting more views on his videos than he actually has subscribers. So it throws off the statistics a little bit here. So his active subscriber base is actually well over 100%, which is, I guess, the calculator can't be perfect. You also have John De La Rose, dead subscriber base 89%. Art T Bear 91% dead subscriber base. Comic Kelsey 71% dead. Fragaboom 76. Shane Davis 78. Sweetcast 78. Mandy Summers 85. John Malin's a lot more healthier again, 31%, 69% healthy subscriber rate. Cecil says 56. So Cecil's doing a little bit better, I think, and that's probably due to the Jack show. HowToDrawComics.net, the Barton Boys, 79% dead subscriber base. And Comics Matter with your boy Zach, 76% dead. And of course, we couldn't have this calculator without the Grand Poobah himself, the Caesar of Comicsgate, Ethan Van Sciver, dead subscriber base 84%. So the thing that's concerning with this is that at one point there were a lot of viewers and a lot of Comicsgaters that did watch these channels, but the large majority of them now don't. And that should be a little bit concerning, and it might explain why, again, going back to it, that these Comicsgate numbers for this year, especially for the smaller campaigns, seem really a lot lower than what we've seen in previous years compared to the campaigns I've previously listed. Obviously, this doesn't apply to everybody. Shane Davis obviously did really well on Inglorious Rex. You've got John Malin's campaigns increasing every time, and that is fantastic. That is really good. But going back to the subscribers, another thing I've also noticed is a lot of Comicsgate channels these days, it is a really tough mission for them to break over 1,000 subs. And this is a little bit strange because if we go to these OG channels, Douglas Ernst, Captain Cummings, Englentine, Nurkish, these were the OG, the original guys. And just look at these subscribers. Wow's here is Captain Cummings. He actually had 22,000 subscribers when he left Comicsgate. So he's lost around 6,000 subs. And you look at Douglas Ernst, 11,000 subs. Nurkish has got 10. Englentine here has hit his subscriber count, but you can see it's 18,000. When you go to Social Blade, it might be a little bit lower, a bit higher, who knows. And if you were to compare these OG Comicsgate subscriber numbers to what you see now with a lot of the newer channels, they don't really compare. I mean, if we go back to here, I mean, obviously Ethan, 146 is good. 100,000 for your boy Zach, 44 for the Barton Boys, which is great. 14,000 for Cecil. Let that sink in. Englentine, a guy that nobody's heard of, still has now more subscribers than Cecil, who is one of the most popular figures in Comicsgate. So it's a little bit strange, just looking at this, that Comicsgate had a much larger audience back in 2017 and 2018, a lot more interest. And nowadays, it just seems that less so. I have a theory for this. I think this is because Comicsgate now starts talking about itself and stopped talking about the mainstream. I think if Comicsgate started talking about the mainstream industry more, these subs and views would increase. So it's not really a problem, and it could be rectified, I think. Now, another thing too is the future of crowdfunding. Crowdfunding comics increased during 2020, and it's now attracting pros like Scott Snyder here, doing his Nocturna #1 on Kickstarter. You've got Maddie, Once Upon a Time, which is the Alex DeCampi book, made $366,000. Of course, you've always got Brian Pulido, the godfather of crowdfunding. He's still around doing his thing. Sean Gordon Murphy with The Plot Holes. And it's not just these pros coming over and making these books, competing with the crowdfunding comics. You've also got publishers. Boom Studios and Keanu Reeves recently taken the #1 spot with $1.4 million on Berserker. This is a publisher, Boom, coming into the crowdfunding space and competing with the indies. You've also got the Power Rangers book they put out, another $800,000. Very impressive. And of course, Dynamite Entertainment. So there is a lot of competition right now for the little guys, for the big guys, publishers moving into the space. You've also got other issues coming up, like Substack. Professionals and writers are now leaving the professional companies to start this subscription-based service on Substack. So it's very interesting. We're seeing the comics industry evolve and change. I'm just wondering how it's going to affect Comicsgate. Will Comicsgate profit from this? Will they lose out? Is it too much competition? Will they improve? Will it force innovation? We're not sure. And we also have NFTs, which are another game changer. So I'm sure Doug TenNapel and Mike will be able to tell us all about that when they appear. We also have other issues affecting Comicsgate, and I've seen this as well. The VAT tax on international shipping in England. The shipping prices now to ship books to England is astronomical. And I've seen a lot of creators, particularly Doug TenNapel and Ethan, they're trying to figure out workarounds. They may stop exporting their books to those countries at all, which I think, again, would be kind of sad, because it will affect everyone, the customers and the creators, their bottom line and the availability of the books. We also have COVID impacting the international shipping. The UPS has suspended shipping to over 20 countries, including mine, Australia. And I've got a whole host of updates from several creators saying that they're pausing fulfillment on the books because they just can't ship them here. COVID has shut down international shipping. So this is another challenge affecting Comicsgate and crowdfunding in general, especially when it comes to international backers. So that was my little presentation. That was my little spiel, our introduction, the issues we're going to be talking about. I'm going to take a quick look in the chat and see what you guys are saying. I'm sure there's a lot of interesting opinions. Let me go over here and have a quick look. Who have we got here? We've got Joseph King saying Sovereign. Michael Bancroft's here. Welcome, Bancroft. I'm looking forward to having you on to talk about all this. We've also got Niobe and a whole bunch of people. Welcome, guys. That chat's moved way too much on me, so I'm going to have to. Oh, Wendy B. Welcome, Wendy. Nice to see you. So we're running a little bit late, 3 minutes late. I'm going to bring on my first three guests. We have joining us tonight to talk about from going critics to commentators, thoughts on overdue books, and warming up to CG. Please welcome Queen Victoria.
Hello, Smug. Hi, everybody.
Welcome. We've also got DA Talks.
Victoria!
Fuck you, Dean.
What's up? And joining us also are Chris and Diane from the Heroshack team. Welcome, guys.
Oh, they're muted.
Oh, you guys.
Smug.
You guys are muted. Allow me to.
There we go.
There. Hi,
Okay,
you guys.
much better.
Nice
With
to
a
see
smooth
you.
purple. Hello, hello.
Hey, wait a minute. We're really weird here, so let me do this. There we go.
There you go.
Okay, cool.
Okay, just real quick, that list of books that you rattled off that all made over what 50,000 or whatever. Did you notice that all but one of them was late?
I did not. Which one was it, Vicky?
The only one that wasn't late was Charlie's London's book.
Okay.
Yeah. So that might have something to do with it.
Okay, we've got a lot of love in the chat for our guests. Just quickly, I just wanted to start by saying, and I'll just put this all out here. At one point or another, All three of you were, I guess, at some point critics of Comicsgate, but recently your opinions and thoughts have warmed up. Starting with you, Chris, I actually watched your appearance the other day, and you were talking about how you don't let these things bother you anymore. I think you've started warming up to Ethan and stuff like that. I was just wondering, what made you come to that? Why now? I guess, aren't you letting Comicsgate, I guess, be in your mind?
Well, Comicsgate is kind of something that you have to be around for a while, especially if you were introduced to it through any negative scope. And everything I had heard about Comicsgate outside of Comicsgate was basically, fuck Comicsgate, it's a hate group. When I came in, I was ultra sensitive, ran into some things that I thought were too close to kids and got really bent out of shape for really a lot of nothing. But I tend to do that sometimes. I get a little emotional, and yeah. So my first encounter with these guys was very disappointing for what I thought comic books were about, and I had to really learn that, you know, just because you make a comic that's a little edgy doesn't mean that you're out to destroy children. And with EBS, it was more or less, I got all caught up in the, and with all due respect to Dean and Vicky, I got all caught up in the late book thing. And then I just realized, for me, as long as my books are on time, I don't care if other people have late books, if their fans are okay with it. If they're not, they talk about it, and that's how it works, you know. But I have never had a book that's come in too late, right?
I know that you asked Chris to say something. May I say something as well? This is Diana, his wife.
Yeah, sure, Diana.
So like, I hear a lot of what Chris is doing in the social media world, and I was listening to him talk about EVS and Ethan Van Sciver, and it wasn't until, I swear to God, maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago that I put those two things together. So I'm like, oh, I should check him out.
One in the same, yeah.
Stuff to say about him, and I started watching him, and I was really impressed by not only his obvious talent, but his video streams were, to me, were very professional. I didn't watch any of the more, I guess he has other streams that they get fresh on or whatever, they start arguing. But the ones I saw, I was very impressed. And so I said to Chris, I said, I think that Ethan is somebody we should, look at closely for Heroshack Press. And I want to just say one more thing, that when you were going through the Comicsgate and you made a comment about some of the creators, that their campaigns weren't huge, and you referred to them like it's almost like they're crickets, like nobody hears from them anymore. I just want to say that is not what I am looking for Heroshack Press. We do not want to be one of those crickets. And it just really struck me as a term that is labeled for, and there are a ton of independent creators that should be more, more people should know about them because they're very good. But I wanted to throw that in. All right, I'm going to stop talking now. Thank you.
That's all right.
Really, you know what though, and it's everything though. It is the relationships that I've grown in over the last year. It's been encounters with you, with Vicky, with everybody in the whole spectrum. When you realize that it's not all war campaign, which is what it was when I came in. Primarily, it was a big mix. I thought the two were synonymous.
They were.
Yeah. Well, when I came in, I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know what the heck I just walked into. People said Twitter was great for publicizing, and I'm like, okay. But it's actually, for us, for me specifically, it's more of a community thing. It's not so much an industry. I realize our circle is rather small, and I enjoy 99% of you guys. It's just, we share the same values 99% of the time. We don't like the social justice stuff in the big two. We love almost everything that we see in indie comics, and it's kind of weird because I used to be a Marvel only guy. I was very much into the house styles, and what comics meant to me was very much the Marvel way. and I've changed so much in the last 3 years. I don't even I seriously
So
don't care about Marvel.
Are we? I think the original question was.
Well, it was
Comicsgate.
why did we warm up to
Why
Comicsgate?
did we want
Right.
So
Yeah.
I again didn't know anything about Comicsgate except for what Chris was, carrying on about and not carrying on about, and I just heard, like I said, EVS and Ethan Van Sciver, and oh, he's the big guy of Comicsgate, and why were we upset with him? But obviously we explained that. So
Well,
I think I don't know if we're considered, do you go, is it
yeah, we don't even know if
Comicsgate?
we don't know if
Is
we're
it-
Comicsgate or Comicsgate adjacent. We just love who we love and do what we do.
Well, yeah.
I think that's fair. You see a lot of creators that still, I guess, get along with everybody and are warm to
Yeah.
Comicsgate. But moving on to Vicky and Dean.
I don't know that I'm not a critic of Comicsgate. I think Dean and I are very critical of Comicsgate.
Oh, I've seen those tweets. You guys are controlled opposition. You've been in Ethan's pocket since day one. So spill the beans.
I don't have any sort of vitriol left for Comicsgate. I mean, it was mostly just aimed at War Campaign. Without War Campaign, things are I don't know, kind of copacetic.
I think I've never disliked Comicsgate, to be honest. I did one video that could be seen as anti-Comicsgate, I guess, and it was just a video defending Nasser, and that was it. I'll go after individuals all day if they're a shitty person doing shitty backdoor stuff, like Tug, but I don't. Nobody's ever even claimed those are anti-CG.
Yeah, I
because
was never.
Bearscar points out, I don't care enough to dislike Comicsgate.
I was never anti. I was never against Comicsgate. I mean, I would argue that I've been around Comicsgate since the very beginning, right? And my feelings about everything and the issues never changed, right? It was just certain personalities and what was going on. And Comicsgate itself is much different. It went from consumer movement to marketing platform.
And to Robert Shepard, that's my purse. I don't know you.
Yeah.
Well, one of the other things I wanted to talk to you guys was about overdue books, which you've been tracking, Vicky, and you sent me this video, and we're going to quickly play it, and then at the end, I guess we'll quickly talk about what it means.
Okay.
Does anybody know where I can get some MDMA? I need to dance.
Okay. Well, so Vicky, that there's a lot of information there. Why don't you give us the skinny? What does it all mean?
There's a lot of money tied up in late books in Comicsgate. Just the top 25 books raked in, and that's current right now. Just the top 25, it's almost $3 million. It's $2.9 million in late books. And only 7 of them are closed campaigns. All the rest are still in demand, and some of those books are over a year late. I'm actually going to be removing Sovereign and Conflict Clause out from the list because I'm just going to call them dead campaigns. Like nobody's ever seeing that money. But yeah.
I do find it interesting that it is normally the professionals and the larger campaigns which are so late. I think Fragger's late, Cecil's late, Ethan's late. I mean,
yeah.
Is this something you think that's affecting customer confidence and maybe is responsible? Are people closing their wallets because they've already backed a bunch of books they haven't got?
Oh, certainly. Back in September, there were 41 late campaigns in Comicsgate, and that total was almost $4 million, like between 3.5 and 4 million off the top of my head. And out of the top 10, only one of those books is fulfilled in the last month, and that was the Expendables. So yeah, I think when 1/3 of all Comicsgate campaigns for 2020 and 2021 were late, that affects people's willingness to back books again. And
I think so too. And I think it's responsible for a lot of the sort of data that I showed at the start of the stream.
Yeah, it definitely is. It there's just no way. There's no way around it. Like when people put a bunch of money in these books and then they got like maybe one added in like a decent amount of time, like that, there's gonna be quite a few people that aren't gonna back any books. Like that's just a fact.
Yeah.
All right. We are running 3 minutes behind schedule, guys. I want to quickly thank you guys for joining. I would be remiss if I didn't let everybody know that Heroshack's book, Cluster Fudge 2, is still available on Indiegogo. I've read the first one. I found it's a very interesting book, and I backed the second one. If you check down in the description of the stream, you will find a link to the campaign. I'm also going to put it in the chat before we say goodbye, guys, because two troublemakers just entered the back room, and I'm going to bring them on pretty soon. Is there anything you'd like to say in final about any of this?
Well, everything Mike S. Miller touches turns to.
Dean, no trouble here, sir.
You guys, I think as creators, we just have to remember that all this upset and turmoil and crazy market trends or whatever you want to call them it's just more opportunities. It's going to lead to a new golden age. It's just how we get there as an industry. I don't know if crowdfunding's it or if digital's it or if there's going to be some other explosive thing that happens in comics, but it'll happen. Something's going to pop.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you for joining us, Chris. I appreciate you coming on and talking about your experiences and yeah, good luck with Cluster Fudge 2.
Thank you. We love you guys.
Vicky, Dean, anything you want to say before I kick you out?
I think I said enough.
I think Dean already said enough.
I'm surprised you said anything. I know you're not exactly the biggest comics fan, Dean.
No, but thank you
for fan at all.
Thanks for having us.
Until it suits me and I can use it to shield myself from people getting mad at my criticisms.
Okay.
Anyways, later.
See you, Dean.
Bye,
good night, Vicky. Okay, that was DA Talks, Vikkiverse, and Heroshack. If you check the description, you'll see under segment 1 links to their channels and Chris's campaign. I'm going to be bringing on our next 2 guests. Unfortunately, NASA and John were both busy. They couldn't make it, so we've skipped ahead a little bit. Please welcome to the show Jim.
Yeah. I'm gonna knock the camera down just so I don't show up because I don't want to get in trouble.
Oh,
Howdy.
This show is nothing but trouble, Jim. You're in good company.
Oh,
And,
good.
Please welcome also another troublemaker, Mr. Mike S. Miller.
My
I
favorite.
resent that description.
How you going, Mike? Good to see you. Thanks for joining me,
No.
guys.
Yeah, no
Everything
problem.
Miller touches turns to poison.
That's right.
I think everything Mike touches turns to gold lately, and I think that's what I invited you guys mainly here to talk about is, okay, NFTs.
Mhm.
Explain it to me like I'm a child. What are NFTs?
Unique digital assets.
Crypto.
Crypto are fungible tokens, so any Ethereum is the same as any other Ethereum. They're completely interchangeable. An NFT is a unique digital asset, so it cannot be. I mean, it can be duplicated, but the duplication doesn't. It's like I like to use the. Hold on, my green screen is really bugging me right now. I like to use the example of, say, music. Like if you have like 10 million copies of Purple Rain out there in the world, right? They're all functionally and digitally identical. But if you had the original recording, which is functionally and digitally identical, you have something of value, right? You have something actually. Okay, all value is perception. So really, it's like
No, that's true.
there's no real intrinsic value to the original recording of Purple Rain versus the 10 million other copies that are out there. But the
'Cause
perception,
it's a bunch of molecules.
it's just a bunch of molecules. And the perception and the information stored on those molecules is, again, identical to all the other ones. But the perception that this is the first one, the unique, it gives it uniqueness in that it is the original one. So that's what the basic concept behind an NFT is. You can take a digital item, whether that's a piece of music or a piece of video or a piece of art, and you can enter it onto the blockchain as a permanent immutable ledger. In the art world, we would call it a provenance. And that's kind of how I explained it to Doug, which seemed to make it click in his head. It's a provenance. It's a permanent, unchangeable provenance of your artwork. And that in and of itself has perceived value. And the more people perceive it, the more value it has. So
we have a comment here by Hicks Villain saying, Twitter tells me that NFTs will end the planet. I've noticed that too, that I guess
I'm trying to end the planet, so there you go.
So it's a worthy cause, Mike. It's a worthy cause, ending the planet.
It's a gift. It's a gift.
So what is the deal with, I guess, the far left and their hatred of NFTs? Something about draining power or something. What's the truth to that? Is there any truth to that?
Yes, absolutely. We are destroying the planet one NFT at a time.
Yes. Finally,
Camera. All right.
my plan is coming to fruition.
All right. So the reality is that there's different types of cryptocurrencies and different types of blockchains, and the original one block is proof of work, which is a very, very, very secure. That's like the most secure information system in the history of the world. But that security comes at a very high energy consumption cost. So it is
calculating energy on a computer.
Yeah. I mean, calculating to the point where you need like the highest end graphics cards ever designed on Earth in order to mine Bitcoin. And that uses a lot of energy. Truth. This is the truth. And this is where they stop information-wise, because the banks, I believe it's the banks spreading this because they don't want cryptocurrency. They really hate it. But the truth is that 87% of cryptocurrency, like miners, they are all out there in like, they're either using renewable energies or they're using wasted energies, which is like, when you have a nuclear power plant running and you don't have enough customers taking the power, the rest of that energy it go bye-bye, right? It's like wasted. They're producing it, but for no reason. And so the point of mining is to make money. So the best way to make money is to find the cheapest possible energy sources. And so just through market forces, it forces miners to use like solar power or geothermal or just wherever they can get the cheapest possible energy. And that's about it, man.
Well, speaking of making money, this is something that I'm glad you guys both showed up for, since you're both successful crowdfunders yourself with Lone Star, Bigfoot Bill, Earthworm Jim, a variety of books, and now you're both delving into the world of NFTs. Mike, I might be misquoting you, but I'm paraphrasing you, but I believe you recently said that on releasing these Funky Monkey NFTs, you made more money than you did on all of your crowdfunding books put together. Am I misremembering or misquoting?
Not at all.
There?
By a significant margin, by about 20%.
That is really incredible, and that's. I also want to talk about how the benefits.
Been a rough couple of months.
Yeah, it's the same for me. My first Eternal Clay NFTs have made more than all of my crowdfunding put together in a month and a half.
Yeah, that is incredible. That is really incredible. And I also, considering NFTs, there's no fulfillment, there's no overhead cost, there's no international shipping.
Well, for me, there's an overhead cost because I work with a dev team. Doug's dev team is his family.
Well, I'm paying people. I've got 8 people making 20 an hour, who are working for me. I do pay writers, and I pay a lot of, which is good for them too. They need jobs and they're all working. So.
Yeah, but the reality is, look, man, if you're doing crowdfunding, you're going to spend 20 or 30, depending on how much you sell. 20 to 50% of your money crowdfunding is going to go into shipping, printing, fulfillment. Oh, fulfillment. Yes, your wonderful chore of sitting there for a month packing envelopes. That's really going to be a good use of your artistic time as well. And nonstop freaking live streaming to promote over and over and over again.
That's been the best relief is to I sit here and I'm drawing NFTs right now. I sit at my table and I draw 12 to 15 hours a day, and I don't have to have a camera on me all the time and just constantly be marketing. It's a huge relief.
Yeah.
I get to be an artist.
We have a question here from Mr. Dongs for you, Doug. Are you holding onto your crypto or are you selling?
Holding on.
You guys hold on to the crypto, or?
I've taught him well.
That's right. Mike is the crypto guru. Yeah, I'm absolutely bullish on it and not cashing it out, because I've got plenty of other stocks and things like that where I'm already diverse. NFTs are my diversification. So it's just another area, and it's already outperformed every other asset I have. My house, my stocks, anything I have, it has outperformed it.
We do have a comment here from Wendy B, and this was a question I was going to ask you guys. She says, I want a physical book. Given that NFTs are so lucrative and successful, do you guys, are you planning on still crowdfunding books, or have your past experiences?
Hell no. Not a chance.
We won't be seeing Lone Star 4, Mike?
Nah.
Okay. Doug, what about you? I think you were working on Bigfoot Bill 3, and I think you wanted to release the Earthboy Jacobus omnibus. So will you still be crowdfunding?
Not in the near future, no. And I just now got all of my resources for Earthboy Jacobus are back. So it's been colored. I paid for the coloring out of my own pocket, because of my NFTs. So that's ready to go when I'm ready to crowdfund. But right now, where shipping and where printing is, I'd have to add at least 20% to my costs just for where the market is now. No one has workers. It's a tough business. It's not that I won't do it. It's just that while I'm doing NFTs, the NFTs are going to fund the next comic and make it feasible and easy to do. And it won't matter if I make a profit or not. So it's the NFT. It's kind of what I always did, when I was succeeding at YouTube. The best thing about YouTube was it was going to allow me to squander my time on comics. So I really am a natural storyteller. I really do love making comics, but if something else is making money right now, I'd rather do that right now because it can fund my comics for the next 3 years.
So I guess
I'm going to be doing some comic strip stuff. If I ever end up compiling it into a physical book, I'm not going to crowdfund it. It would be silly. I'll sell them as part of some sort of an NFT set or something. But that's the future. I love comics. I love making comics. I am also a storyteller. I love writing comics.
Yeah, they're a blast.
But no, the idea of just that crowdfunding grind. Even when I was at the peak and making, $178,000 on Lone Star 2, it's like it still took me forever because of all the other crap I was dealing with or doing, like streaming so much and all that stuff just to keep that machine going.
Yeah,
dude, I work way faster than that, and it was the production level was just, it was so slow.
Yeah. For me, they're not in competition with each other because they're two completely different mediums. That comics will always be here for me. NFTs are just where I'm at now, and I look forward to doing comics again. But man, my shipping fees. In fact, right now we're just now getting our state taxes squared away for what our shipping is going to cost, and I'll probably have to cut a check for like $35,000-$50,000. So
Sheesh.
It's just it's just outrageous expense and very high risk. But I will crowdfund. I really love crowdfunding, and I definitely want to crowdfund Earthboy Jacobus and Bigfoot Bill 3 and Earthworm Jim 3. But man, it is a good time to take a break, and I'm enjoying my break.
It's a great break.
So I had a hypothetical question for you guys. That is, if a former professional or creator came to you personally and asked you, well, I'm not sure about my job. I'm getting less work. I was thinking about getting into crowdfunding a book or doing NFTs. Would you? I think at the moment you guys would probably recommend NFTs over crowdfunding for out of work professionals.
To me, it really depends on what they want to do. I'm all for doing everything. NFTs aren't going to be for everyone, okay? And just like comics aren't going to be for everyone. And I think if you're an indie, then if you're an indie, you're going to go into crowdfunding or NFTs or whatever. It's not like NFTs wipe out every single art form on the planet. Just for Mike and I, this is the most profitable art form that we've been involved in.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't promise that to everyone because there's going to be a lot of people that get into this space and they're going to fail. And it's exactly like getting into crowdfunding and failing. It's identical. It's just as those things happen to good artists and good people all the time.
Yeah, it seems like there's a lot more risks associated with crowdfunding, especially now. Like you can see here, the tax after Brexit, the new VAT tax on the UK.
Oh yeah,
I think
that is deadly.
Yeah, I think we previously talked about this on Well Red's show, Doug, that you were planning on actually cutting your international shipping to select countries just because it's unfeasible as a creator.
Yeah, you just have to, or you have to just charge them extra, and and that's where the number one complaint comes from. Is people complain about my shipping prices, which are 100% fair. I don't know where the customer's at, what they think, and everyone has their drop ship. Oh, you can drop ship, on pallets and crates at the shipping yard, by the box full, while they're all lined up out in the, out in the bay. None of those were feasible. None of them were convenient. My own shipping I use a shipping and fulfillment house that takes a percentage of my income, and they're even saying this VAT tax, Doug, is going to slaughter you at these prices. Slaughter you.
We also see from COVID that the UPS has actually stopped shipping to over 20 countries, including Australia. I quickly mentioned it before. So it seems like.
But haven't they fixed that?
I think it's being reviewed on the 17th of November. I think they're going to review it.
Yeah, because I was talking to somebody and I mentioned that, and he was from Australia, and they're like, I just got something from the USA like yesterday. I was like, well, maybe they undid it. I have no idea.
Yeah, I think at the moment they are shipping to Australia, but you have to pay for the more expensive priority mail. You can't just ship it standard, which again is going to put more costs on the creators.
Bloody hell, man! It was costing me $70 to send a 2-pound package to Oz. It was
yeah,
not.
and Australia is one of my biggest secondary markets outside of the U.S. So I have a lot of fans there, and you just every time you get an Australian shipment, you just go, "Oh man, this is I'm gonna eat." And New Zealand too. Oh, I'm gonna eat this one hard.
South Africa.
Yeah.
Holy
South Africa, they're not even gonna get it. So you're gonna mail it. It's gonna cost you everything. And
Argentina.
You're gonna send
South
it to
Africa,
them.
Argentina. I don't know what it is. I mean, they're on the southern end of the hemisphere for both of them, both continents. But holy cow, both of those places, it was like $90 to send like one comic. It was crazy, and I just ate it. But I'm not doing that again.
Yeah. It's just right now. There's no incentive for me to go diving into that. When I'm ready to go back, it will be Earthboy Jacobus will be ready to pull the trigger on and go, and it will be funded by my NFTs.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm actually happy for the both of you. I know there's a lot of critics probably in the chat right now and critics elsewhere, but I'm glad to hear that you're doing well.
Oh, I should open that up and see what they're saying.
Yeah, I just figured there's nothing that makes comic skaters more miserable than to see Mike and I succeed.
Yep.
Sometimes I wish I would get cancer again so they'd have something to cheer about. Like Mike would lose his house and lose his ability to pay rent, just so they'd have something to laugh and have fun with. But they're going to have to get their joy from some other source.
Yeah.
We have
they can laugh at Liam. Apparently, he's still a.
Yeah, that takes a big man too. Go after Liam. Yeah, big man. Go get him.
Well,
guys.
Liam was going to be a guest on this show, but sadly he cancelled. He's actually busy. So, but okay. Yeah, I have no ill will towards anyone, any guests.
I don't either. I think, and I always liked.
I was praying for Liam today, man.
Yeah, he's an interesting guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, guys, I want to thank you for joining me. I don't want to keep you guys too long. I can see you're very busy, and I'm sure you've got your own streams as well. But I want to thank you guys for coming on and coming on to talk about NFTs. I'm sure.
Hold on. When was that DA Talks and Vicky thing? Because that about threw me for a loop. I thought they were all the Comicsgate rage.
I don't know. I don't.
What? How do you keep up?
It is really hard to keep up, Jim, with all the interpersonal dramas, all the drama. It's very tiresome.
I can't tell you how fun it is to not know anything about what's going on other than Mike and I are here cracking up and having a ball.
Yep.
It's all good times.
It's all gravy, baby.
They're all over there really upset. It's got to really be bugging them. I don't know why. I don't know what we did.
Well, I think
was it worth it? Was it worth it?
Yeah. 100,000%.
Yeah, it was.
500,000% actually. Totally worth it.
Yeah, and you didn't have to break out your knee pads and bow down. So.
That's right. I did not tarnish my lips kissing any rings.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having us on, buddy. This is
No, it's actually been fun. Would you like to talk about Earthboy Jacobus before you leave, Jim? When can people expect it?
Sure. It's colored by Catherine Garner, who did all of the color work on Earthworm Jim 1 and 2. She's fantastic, one of my favorite all-time colorists, and just a wonderful person out of the UK. And so it's 286 pages, I think. We're adding 16 pages to it. So I think it's 286 or something pages in color.
You got an NFT every single page.
Yeah. It's going to be it's also my 9x12 size. So it's going to be like twice the weight of my normal books I ship. It's the impossible campaign to do, but I really want to do a nice over the top cover. It's one of my favorite all-time stories. I did it back in, I think, 2005 5 or 4 it came
Doug
out.
is actually going to lose all the money he made on NFTs shipping that book.
It is true. But, I mean, I get my printing bills, and it's like 140,000. I get my shipping bills. It's 140,000. It's like the numbers that I'm doing are outrageously expensive. It's not, and I'm still trying to make money. I'm always trying to make about a 20% profit. But when you're trying to educate an audience on why a hardbound 160-page book is better than a 48-page book printed on newsprint for the same price, it doesn't make you feel like, it doesn't give you a lot of confidence in the market.
But your cover isn't made of chromium, dude.
That's right. My covers have more expensive foil, actual real gold leafing, gold foil, and gold gilded edges using real gold. It's like they're going, this is, you just so I'm very thankful for the fans I do have. I think they're the ones that really keep me happy about crowdfunding. It's just the amount of work and the timing of it right now. It is not going to work. I'm willing to wait as long as it takes. So
will Earthboy Jacobus, would that be going on Indiegogo or Kickstarter or both platforms?
it would almost certainly be going on Indiegogo, and that's simply because I'm always weighing between Indiegogo and Kickstarter, or maybe Kickstarter in a secondary market with a different cover or something. But Indiegogo reached out to me. I don't know if it was this summer or this fall. Joel Hodges just said, Doug, I just want you to know you're one of our top creators. I just want to clarify that we want to be in business with you. If you put out a book, we're looking forward to putting it on our front page, putting it on our newsletter. And that just sold me on it. Just to get an email like that personally from him. Kickstarter would never send me that email. So I just said, you know what? My next book is going to you guys. And I hope, it's going to be Earthboy Jacobus. So when it goes, it will be Indiegogo.
All right, very cool. I've obviously I've got a bunch of channels pinned down in the description. I've just linked to your Twitter, Doug, so people can go there and stay informed on what you're up to. And I've got your channel down there too, Mike. Before
don't put any of my links in here.
Don't want any links in here.
I do not want my community infested with this previous community.
It'll just be awful. The hate cult. Yeah. You guys stay away. Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Before you leave, Mike, BitBoy and Shadowversity's Shadow of the Conqueror. Any news on those?
On BitBoy, they're still working on the generative avatar projects, the Pluto Alliance stuff. So I know that they're talking to another development company about different ways to launch the comic. I did 2 issues of BitBoy, so they're in the can, so they can start NFTing those anytime they want. But whenever they do it, that's when they do it. I'm not really worried about it.
How is the NFT going to work with the comic, Mike? How does that?
That's what I'm saying. They're trying to figure out a way to sort of gamify the comic launch. So I'm interested.
So you could buy an NFT and get the comic with it. Is that what it is? You buy an NFT of the comic, and the comic comes in digital form.
I honestly don't know. I know that there's some ways where, like, if you can do a comic where, like, you NFT the first panel, right, and then it becomes unlockable content. You can even set up a website using like Unlock Protocol, which the NFT itself becomes the key. Like, you have to have the NFT in your MetaMask wallet in order to enter into the website so that you can read the comic, right? So there's different methodologies.
That's what the smart contract can do. You own the NFT. Yeah. When the when it triggers and sees that you own that NFT, it'll automatically open up the book and you can read it.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, the utility on these things is as pretty much limited to people's imaginations and their ability to program. That's what I mean. People think like, oh, NFT, it's just a JPEG. No, there's actual utility that you can attach to any NFT. And like I said, man, you can stake these things. You can have we have a trading pool, a liquidity pool, so you can actually stake your NFT into the liquidity pool that goes in with a bunch of other like blue chip NFT projects. So you can stake Ethereum in there and SushiSwap token. And I'm talking over the heads of most of your crowd, but that is basically, if you boil it down, it's like a 401k of NFTs, and so like it's a great investment platform. There's just so much you can do with these things, and people who dismiss it as a JPEG, they're just based on absolute ignorance of the entire marketplace and technology.
Yeah, I get tired of telling people what I'm doing and why, and after a while, I just go, I don't have an obligation to explain this to
It's
everyone.
just deja vu with this, what I dealt with Bitcoin freaking 4 years ago, right? I'm sitting there telling you, it's freaking $5,000. Sell it. No, buy it now.
Yeah. I was one of the ones telling Mike to sell it. I was one of the ones saying, Mike, get rid of that crap. Now I am doing very well in Bitcoin and Ethereum.
Well, I'd love to stay here and talk about NFTs with you guys for another hour. My chat's loving the conversation. They're all aboard. They love the NFT train.
Oh, good.
But I know you guys are really busy, and I've got more callers popping in now. I want to thank you both for taking the time to.
Thank you so much for having us. You've been very kind.
I try and be fair and balanced, and everyone's always welcome, especially you, Mike. I've got a soft spot for you.
Mike's got a soft spot in his head.
Yeah,
still
there.
All right, guys.
Thanks, Mike.
Take it easy. Thanks for
you guys.
Peace.
All right, chat. Let's have a quick look in the chat before I bring on my next guest. Let's see how everybody loved the NFT talk. Vicky says, remember when I said CG content is boring? Now, come on, Vicky. I thought that was a very interesting segment. Spirit Scar says, gong. Yeah, a lot of love for. I miss Mike's condescension. I like Mike. And Mr. Dong says he's not really big on hearing about what you're doing either, to be honest. Geez, a lot of. We got Testify here. This is an anti-CG content. It's way worse than any CG content. Testify. This is the #1 anti-CG late night talk show on YouTube. Welcome. Bancroft says this is all too smart for us peons. And who else? Chris says needed more fireworks. There's no ambushes or blood sports here. This was just supposed to be a conversation. Spirit Scar asks, why do you hate us, Smug? Because Oz hates you, Spirit Scar, and I'm continuing the tradition of torturing the audience. And Matthew Fowler misses Mike, which I think everyone does. Okay, please welcome our next guest. Oh, I am the unifier. It's great. Well, speaking of unification, please welcome to the show Panboy. Welcome, sir. Hail.
Hey, thanks for having me. Hail.
No problem. Have you been watching the show since the start, or just tuning in?
Yeah. I think I caught most of it. That's some interesting stuff. It's good to hear that Doug and Mike are, having success with the NFTs. So congrats, guys.
Yeah, I'm glad they're doing well as well.
Yeah. Mike knows his shit, man. I mean, sounded like an expert talking over everyone's heads. It's good to hear.
Oh, we got a lot of love in the chat here. We got Brother Gaius, hooray, hail Panboy. Where is this? The chat keeps jumping on me. Vic says,
hail
Panboy, sexiest voice in CG. A lot of love for Pan.
Wow.
Thank you. Wendy. Yeah, so I reached out to you, and I was hoping to also get Gat and Ro on here just to quickly talk about Comicsgate and War Campaign, not retreading old drama or trying to cause any trouble or anything like that.
Right.
Just to get your thoughts on a few matters. I don't know whether you noticed this, but this is the Comicsgate.org website. I briefly shared it at the start of the video, looking at these campaigns. And one thing I've noticed is that a lot of the smaller guys are doing not as well as they did during 2018, 2019, and 2020. And I've heard a lot of people present the theory that, well, War Campaign was a driving force for promotion for the little guys. I mean, you guys had Liam on there, Micah Curtis, Rob Casey.
Everybody back in the day, yeah.
Yeah, Michael Derrick, a lot of the little guys. And I guess since War Campaign and Comicsgate split, a lot of those little guys are now struggling places to find promotion. I know Michael Bancroft is a great place to go for small creators to get featured. Dark Gift and Lord Finatra also help out. I'm just wondering, have you heard anything like this? How do you think the smaller creators are doing without War Campaign?
I mean, I haven't really taken a real thorough look at the numbers. But I just know that back then we lived and breathed Comicsgate. It was 24 hours a day for some of us, promoting, trolling Vicky, memeing Renfamous, buying books. It was a lot of fun. It's sad to hear that the smaller guys aren't doing so well,
Yeah, it really is, to be honest. I think 2021's been a bit of a rough year on the little guys. I was also wondering, I've got here Bullet Maker, the latest book by Gat. I will be dropping the link in the chat, of course. It looks great. The art by Joe Ball looks fantastic.
Right.
I was just wondering how a question, how it's now Black Dragon Comics and no longer War Campaign. Is there a reason? Like, is there a publishing, like that's the publisher and
well, that's
Gat
and Rowe's. They created their publishing house, Gat and Rowe. I'm not a part of the business. I just do the War Campaign show with them and help promote it a little bit on Twitter. But as far as the business is concerned, I'm not concerned in that. But yeah, that's their publisher, Black Dragon Comics. So I guess the first one was it technically under War Campaign? I don't know. Because they hadn't formed Black Dragon back then, but it was always just Gat and Rowe, really. Their business.
Yeah, cool. We have Wiggle Wiggle. Bring back the NFT conversation. I think the chat,
not a fan.
Not a fan of the NFTs. Yeah. So how is it now? Just like in your opinion, like from being outside and looking in on Comicsgate, do you guys still like keep an eye on it, keep track of it, or you're just largely doing your own thing?
I mean, yeah, I see a little bit of what's going on. We comment on it from time to time on the show, but really not too often. Not much has really changed for me. I mean, War Campaign's still doing 2 shows a week as always, having fun. I guess really the only thing that's changed is I don't spend a lot of time promoting books and, being a pretend customer, as Evan put it the other day. I thought that was funny. But, I just have a lot more money to buy Ninja Turtles, essentially, so not much has changed for me.
I have noticed on your Twitter, you do love your Ninja Turtles. You got quite the collection. How many, just off the top of your head, how many books, like, do you think, like, that you supported? Obviously, you probably don't have the real number.
I'd have to check my Indiegogo, but I mean, I tried to back every Comicsgate book, like, from 2018, 2017, 18 into 2020. So, I mean, it's a lot of books.
Yeah.
It was a lot. I could post the number on Twitter later. I'm not sure exactly though.
No, that's okay. Yeah, it's interesting. It is strange times. I feel like I don't know. I do feel like bad for the smaller creators, and that's why I just did notice a lot of people say ever since War Campaign left, the smaller creators did lose a lot of love.
Well, yeah, we tried to promote everybody, like the first timers, the guys that had been established, even some of the pros, we had on the show, had a lot of fun, back in the day.
One thing I've noticed too is because I've watched a couple of the War Campaign shows, I think you guys are now moving into the is it the tabletop RPG community, D&D?
Yeah, like, they kind of got like a similar thing happening over there, where, the Wokies have moved in and, they're trying to change the way the game is played. And, you know how it goes with the SJWs, what they do when they move in. So, yeah, it's kind of, War Campaign. We talk about that a little bit, dip our toes in,
It's almost like a cancer, really, isn't it? This SJW progressive thing.
It's horrible.
It's like an octopus.
I'm noticing it like in spaces that I would have never thought, like, the mixed martial arts community and media. You usually think of the martial arts as being non-woke, the fight promoters are conservative. A lot of the fighters are fairly conservative, but even there you get some of these crazy SJWs getting in there trying to fuck shit up.
Yeah.
They're everywhere.
Yeah, they sure are. Getting a lot of critiques in the chat about the NFT.
I imagine.
I think the NFT conversation has spoiled the chat. I think they're all kind of arguing amongst themselves, as it should be always on these streams. The chat.
Hail the chat.
Hail the chat as always. Did you want to? I know you're not attached to it, but did you want to talk about Bullet Maker for a second?
I mean, it looks great. You know, Gat's a really good writer. I think this is his third book. Joe Ball's art. I mean, you look at some of these pages. I can't wait to get my original pages of original art, man. It's going to look fantastic on the wall. So, yeah, I mean, everyone check it out.
Yeah, it does. Joe Ball's art actually is really good. Very detailed.
I mean, look at that. I think that's probably the page I'll get.
That is great. So, I've kind of exhausted all my questions. Was there anything you wanted to talk about or raise on here?
No, I mean, just good show, you know, everybody out there supporting Comicsgate, you know, good, you know, you show the love to the small guys too. So, you know, thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I think the little guys, like I said, it's getting pretty tough out there from what I've seen. But
that's a shame to hear, you know. I know we put a lot of effort into it back in the day, and people, you know, they have mixed feelings or a lot of hate for War Campaign. But I'll tell you right now that no one was more Comicsgate, you know. You know, how are we're going to get canceled from Comicsgate? That kind of makes us more Comicsgate than just about anybody, really. So, you know, we had a lot of fun. Wish everybody well. You know, good show, man. Appreciate you having me on.
It's anytime, Pan. I think the chat's been riding on me all night, so
yeah,
we'll see.
Hail the chat. You know,
we'll see what the aftermath, I guess, of the show, what people think. I'm sure I'll have a lot of mean comments.
Yeah, I'll keep listening, man. Take care.
Yeah, well, I've got the open call-in section at the end of the stream, so if you want to call back in, I'll drop the link in the chat, and you're more than welcome.
Sounds good, man. I appreciate it. Hail the chat. Hail War Campaign. Thanks, Mug.
No problem. All right, guys, I just sent the link to my next 4 guests. I'll just wait for them to come in. Let's see what the chat's saying. We've got El Hombre saying, I think Joe Ball's art is way better than EVS's art. Which Ethan says, congrats. Spectre's here. Hello, Spectre. Vicky's complaining about the price. Donut Swan says, Bullet Maker will be shipping very soon. James Hayes says, oh, Mike and Doug do not like Liam, but they think defending him represents their principles, particularly against Ethan, and been that way for a while. A lot of chat is very spicy this evening. And of course, a bunch of people hailing and saying goodbye to Pan. And Robert says, unsurprisingly, it's a shit show. Well, welcome to the shit show. Our first guest of 4 that I planned on inviting in. What's up, Michael Bancroft?
Smug. How you going? I should say g'day.
G'day, mate. How are you?
G'day. I'm doing very well. I've been listening to the show. I agree with some of it. I don't agree with a lot of it. I mean, the conclusions that are being drawn, but it's been entertaining nonetheless.
That's why I invited like a bunch of you guys, because I wanted to get your perspective. Maybe I'm looking at things through a different lens, or maybe reading too much into it. And I don't want to have an echo chamber here, so that's why I went out and tried to grab as many different people as possible. Also, speaking of, here's Lord Finatra and LordCrackHead, CG Lords.
Hey, what's going on? Thanks for the invite.
Yeah, no problem, guys. And also our final guy, Dark Gift. Welcome, Dark Gift.
Hello, hello.
So, yeah, do you guys have any, I guess, critiques or any thoughts on any of the topics we raised, whether it was NFTs, the crowdfunding space being invaded by publishers and increased competition by pros? What are your guys' thoughts on it? I'll start with Michael Bancroft.
I have absolutely no opinion on NFTs, but I do have an opinion on what was just said then about the smaller creators really struggling. I honestly don't know where that's coming from. To look at that list of campaigns and see you've got a bunch sitting down on a couple of $1,000, sitting at 50 to 100 backers. I know that doesn't say to me that new guys aren't doing as well. It just says to me that there's a whole bunch more of new guys. If we were to compare that back to 2018, 2019 Comicsgate, you would only find 20 to 30 people on that list, and almost all of them probably would have been promoted on How to Draw Comics. So I just see it's a whole bunch of new people coming in. A lot of them don't have an audience. They don't have big reach channels or anything like that. They're starting out. And there are people that have come in brand new, unknown, don't have any name in the industry, who have made tens of thousands of dollars and even reached up to 1,000 backers. So that's the sort of my that's sort of my take on that element of the discussion.
Dark Gift, your thoughts?
I think it's fairly similar to Michael's. Yeah, there's like a whole, what I call the third wave of creators is probably like 3 times the size of just the second wave. So like, the first wave was it was the Ethan, the Mike, Mike Millers and all those guys back in 2018. The second wave would be guys like Michael Bancroft and stuff. So this time around, there's literally like not even going 3 times to the first wave of the 2018 crowdfunders. There's like 3 times the amount of backers, campaigns as just the second wave back in 2019 and the beginning of 2020. So yeah, and like you said, a lot of them are. I know a guy who just put his campaign up. He's got like 30 followers on Twitter, no YouTube channel, hasn't been on a stream, and it's like, no wonder why you're not getting anywhere just yet. You gotta kind of get around out there.
And some of the valid criticisms, late books, which is definitely a valid criticism, just sort of general, potentially bad behavior or drama or anything like that. Some of the people who are now on this list that are making less than they have previously, that's kind of the market, doing as it should. The whole thing about Comicsgate, where it started, it's sort of, ideological birth was without respect, we reject, and you vote with your wallet moving forward. So if a creator, CG or not, doesn't matter. If they've disappointed you in the past, you're under absolutely no obligation to support them in the future. And we're seeing that happen.
Right. Yeah, that's what I've said too.
I think Antonio Bryce is a good example of that, comparing brand 1 to brand 2. Not to throw, I guess, any stones at anyone in particular, but I think you're right there. So 168 projects. Michael, or Mike, is it all right if I call you Mike or Bancroft?
I don't mind anything. I'm an Aussie. You call me anything. It's fine.
I'll call you Bancroft.
Everyone calls me Bancroft.
So we got 168 Comicsgate campaigns in 2021. I'm just curious, how many of these do you think you've promoted? Because I think your channel in particular is one of the main engines of growth for these smaller creators. Like if I was a small creator looking to get promoted, I think the first place I'd want to go is your channel.
Yeah, look, I haven't counted how many, but a fair amount of them. But it's interesting now. There's sort of this, and this wasn't planned or anything. No one organized this, just by the sheer nature of our channels. There's certain scales of them. It's easier to get on my channel than it is to get on Ethan's. John Malin, actually, as long as you're CG and you got a book, I think he will bring you on if he can fit you on. But there's also channels that are smaller than mine that are showing books that I probably wouldn't bring on. So I think there's a whole ecosystem that's gradually forming and has been forming over the last year and a half. So I don't really see this criticism of the smaller creators aren't getting as much promotion, or they're not getting themselves out there as much as they did. If you put in the work, you can do it. But yeah, the time of turning up and saying I'm CG and just jumping straight onto Ethan's channel, that ended 2 years ago.
Right.
Yeah, I think that is the thing too. Like when looking at those previous campaigns, we're looking at Ravage, Kill All Men, Stardust, Sovereign, Shinobi Sasquatch. The thing was, like, a lot of those guys were first timers jumping in and making tens of thousands of dollars. I think that in 2021 now, like you said, Bancroft, you can't just turn up, say I'm Comicsgate, hold out your hands and really expect the audience to come running.
Absolutely not. And you know, we've those of us who've been around for a while have been burnt in the past by a lot of these campaigns that you highlighted earlier, Sovereign and Shinobi Sasquatch and Detective Dead. I mean, there's a whole bunch of them that I have no hope that I'll ever get. Now, there are other late books that I do believe we will get, and them being late is an issue. And if you go hang out on any of the CG channels that kind of talk about, like I like how you called it, this sort of meta CG topic stuff, you'll see people talking about it, and you will hear fans complaining about it, as is their right to.
Speaking of meta shows, LordCrackHead, you're the co-host, I believe, on Leroy's The Chat, and you guys talk a lot about customer issues from the backer's perspective. I'd like to get your thoughts and opinions on the stream. I'm not sure if you've been watching it, but what's the chat's opinion? What do you see from Comicsgate customers?
Yeah, just from a purely customer standpoint, I mean, I tend to agree with what Dark Gift and Bancroft said a little bit in terms of the number of small creators has really probably tripled, maybe even quadrupled since 2018 or so. So there's a lot of different more creators vying for maybe a same slice of the pie. I mean, I'm sure CG, the audience, has grown since 2018, but it seems like the rate of creators has grown a lot more exponentially. But yeah, I think but there is a lot of avenues out there to get funded. I mean, I am seeing a lot of small creators find good success on some smaller channels. But yeah, I think it just comes down to putting in the work and getting your stuff out there and really promoting. I mean, in this day and age when there's so many different creators, you really got to try and find a special way to stand out.
We have a question from a creator in the chat. Jabba asks, LordCrackHead, have you backed Jabba's one-page book? You guys know Jabba's doing a one-page comic book now.
I did just hear about this recently, actually. It's on attached to Shotgun Samurai, I believe, right?
That is correct.
Yes, I did hear about that, and I will be backing that, absolutely, Jabba.
Nobody should back Jabba. Back Shotgun Samurai, but don't back Jabba. That's my opinion. Dark Gift, did you watch the entire stream? What do you think so far? Has it been a shit show?
No, I missed a little bit of the beginning, but I did skim through it while you guys were talking about the NFTs, because I actually have been listening to Mike on the NFT thing. Actually kind of intrigues me a little bit. It seems like a niche area. I don't know if it goes over well with the audience that most of us here have built, but I can see why it would do well. There is an audience for it. But yeah, I mean, as far as lack of promotion, there have been people that filled in the spot of the War Campaign promoters. There was guys like Nick and stuff like that over in War Campaign that were running around promoting back in the day. But there's guys like Vale Ned. Homepaw's been around since forever. Jack Stafford. I'm just thinking of guys who are on Twitter. But you got the guys who are all in the chat dropping links. I think the issue is with so many campaigns now, it's hard to keep track of who's ending when. So I know I've missed a couple of campaigns just because I didn't know they were ending. Because you never know. Are they going in demand? Are they not going in demand? And you can send an update through Indiegogo, but if you look at my inbox, it's like Indiegogo. So it's like you don't really go through all those because sometimes it's not even about a book that you backed. It's some marketing thing. So if you have a mailing list, I think your best bet would be to update it through your own personal mailing list. So you can see who it's coming from, put your own subject line in, and I think you'll catch the attention of your backers or potential backers more. I don't know. That's a suggestion that I was just mulling over actually 2 days ago. Actually.
Yeah, I think because we've seen a lot of success in Comicsgate over the past few years, I think according to Creator Go, like I said, there's 168 active projects now. There's still 2 months of the year remaining. So it could be just an issue of maybe it was just a tight and crowded pool of creators coming in this year.
Comicsgate, I believe, if you are of our mind, if you feel like that SJWs have infiltrated and are attempting to turn the entire medium of comic books into their own, political pamphlets and propaganda, then, and you've got a comic that you want to make, or if you enjoy reading comics, I do think that Comicsgate is the best place in independent comics for you to do that. But it's not a magic system. You have to actually build your own audience, cultivate that following, and then sell your books to them. There's no, like you said earlier, it's not a magic word that you can say. There was a kind of, big bang explosion of a movement back in early 2018. Man, that ended so long ago. And I think a lot of people, when they criticize Comicsgate or, try and judge it, they're judging off that moment when it's really settled into something else entirely. And I think you'll find that most of the people, if not all of them, who are on the bottom of that list, they're either new creators, their books aren't the same quality as the ones at the top of the list, and they're not putting in the work that the other guys are in terms of marketing themselves. And that's it.
Yeah, because if you look back to, like 2018, look at all of the Indiegogo campaigns, or the majority of them that launched, there wasn't much on there. You had maybe 2 or 3 interior pages and a cover or 2. And that's all you pretty much needed. And you would get funded heavily, and funded well. And nowadays, fast forward to 3.5 years later, it's like Bancroft mentioned it earlier. Customers have been through a lot over these years. We've been burned a few times, so we're a little more weary, and we expect a little bit more from these campaigns when we back them nowadays, as opposed to 2018. So I mean, that could be factoring into it as well. But yeah, I mean, if you're getting out there and you're really putting in the work, I mean, there's plenty of ways to succeed. I'm seeing plenty of small creators really do well. Guys like Eddie Winkler, Professor Murph, and there's just plenty of others that are really doing well because they, took the time and networked.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think. I'm sorry, go ahead, Pete.
I was just going to say, Lord Finatra, thanks for joining us. Did you have anything you wanted to say?
Yeah, no, thanks for having me. I'm at work, so I was kind of listening to you guys. And I came to the point where thank you for who's this guy doing over here? Keeping me, let me go last, because I could go tangential and say a lot of these people with the books out here, and they're coming out with new stuff, and it's kind of a situation where you're presenting these books and you're trying to present them. I don't know who half of these guys are. I'm starting to get to know who's who, but until I start getting to read these books, you can promote all you want. These guys, it comes off half disingenuous. If you don't know what the book is about, you don't know what the person is about. There's some guy wants to join CG, some guy wants to be on the outskirts but get that CG money. Your book's got to be good. If it's not good, your personality's got to be there, and then you got to be everywhere. You got to be networking, putting out the super chats or whatever, get your name or your voice and other people talking about it. You got to play ball, know your lane, and if you don't, well, you're gonna have problems. Then you're gonna talk about why your campaign isn't fulfilling or you're not getting any attention. You got to put yourself out there. It's a scary thing, but at the same time, it's got to be done, and that's where greatness comes from. Greatness comes from adversity, and if you're going to put yourself through the ringer, somebody else is going to do it for you, and you're not going to like it. So it's going to be, at the end of the day, either which side. If you worked hard or you did, it's still going to be the same thing. If you're not going to play ball, know your lane and play your lane. And the minute that you step out of that, there's always going to be somebody who's going to try to nudge you back in where you belong. But at the same time, you think you can do better, put up or shut up. I could keep going about this topic right here because there's a reason, and I'm the worst one because I can sit here and talk and criticize or talk and say this or that, and half of the stuff is holding me back. My fear,
2021, make that a bumper sticker.
At the same time, I found my little lane and I stick in it, and sometimes it's good and sometimes it's crazy, and I just roll with the punches and I learn from myself and learn from people around me. And I'm just blessed that there's people around there who's willing to kick me in my ass and put me in my place. Because if not, then I'm on my own. I'm a victim to my own devices, and I think a lot of people are like that, and they don't want to confront the facts that are presented to them that they're denying. It's like, hey, listen, these are the facts. You may want to do this. You don't want to be CG. Well, go. I mean, there's plenty of other places to go. I mean, good luck to you. But that CG is a great place. CG is a great place because we are winning. CG as a whole, and be a part of it. And then and love it and love the people around you. You don't have to like you don't have to freaking be a family or like, you know, be all tight, close knit. But at the same time, if we're in it together, if you look bad, the next person's looking bad. But if these guys are winning, then we're all winning. Then ties raise all ships. So you know, kind of play the game.
I actually do agree with that. I think like the pros coming into Comicsgate, like your Shane Davisons, your Kenneth Rocket Fords, like it is a rise.
There is no gate. There is no gate in Comicsgate. It's a level playing field. It's a field of equity, like all the SJWs want. It's a level playing field, and now all you got to do is get the attention, like Eddie Winkler, like Professor Murph, like Zayd Comics. Zayd Comics is everywhere. Shoot, do what he does, and if you don't, get people to do it for you, get people around you. But if you don't love anybody, then don't nobody love you. Hey, that's all.
Okay, well.
Oh yeah,
that was quite the speech, but the chat's loving it, except for Jabu, who says to shut the fuck up, you dumbass. So,
all right, fine. Thank you for having me, though. But that's pretty much all I can say.
No worries, Finn. Dark Gift, you were going to say something as well before.
Yeah, I was going to say, you know, the other thing, like I said, if you get on these other guys that are out there promoting Radar and even doing some of the things that Finatra said to do, like super chatting in big chats or whatever. You know, I mean, I know it's a pain in the butt for the person reading the super chats. Like, oh, here we go. Like, I got to read a promotional, comment. But, word of mouth is a big thing now, especially, I think. Like Bancroft was saying earlier, like that whole wave of just saying, hey, I'm Comicsgate, come back my book, and have a couple of, and Lord Crackhead saying, have a couple of pictures on the campaign and you're good to go. That ended like early 2019 even. Like that was, so now it's like, you got to make your campaign look good. Whether you have a ton of artwork on there or not, graphics help. Miriam for Bonds had one of the most beautiful looking campaigns that I've seen just because of the graphics and the time she put into the graphics on the campaign. And word of mouth, like if somebody in your chat is excited about your book, they're going to go tell other people in other chats that they go to themselves. You know what I mean? So like, I know like a few guys that comment my link in other people's chats. I didn't ask them to do that. They just do it because they want to do it, So you have to, like I in the beginning of my campaign, I did try to get on a couple of different shows. I got on maybe a handful. I even reached out to Mike and he was like, I'm booked this week, hit me up next week or whatever. I never did, because at that point I was like, you know what, I'm going to do this one on my own. And the rest of my campaign, I did it all on my own channel. And I'm proud of that fact. So if I could do it with only, at the time, I think I only had like 800 subscribers, and probably like a bunch of them were from like music and stuff, not even comic books. But I know word of mouth helped, because I can look at my backer list and I could see Comicsgaters' names, but they're not in my chat. They're not even people that I see very often, but I know they're Comicsgaters. But so that means they heard about my book from somebody else.
I agree. Word of mouth is how I heard about Fiendish by Irene, I think it is. I'd never watched Irene before. I'd never heard of her. And Fiendish looks absolutely fantastic, and I backed it as soon as I heard
I really enjoyed it. That was a great book. I'm looking forward to the second one. But yeah, word of mouth is how I found some of my favorite books over the last year or so. It really does help once that gets going, and that seems to help a lot. Like once books start fulfilling, and the book starts getting into people's hands, if you still have it in demand, I mean, 9 times out of 10, your sales are gonna, go up. We saw it happen with Monster MD. Really took fire when it started hitting people's hands. So yeah, stuff like that, factors in. And but yeah, word of mouth is great.
Reni's a great example of Comicsgate in 2021. She came in super positive, really friendly, made friends with everyone, and that incredible talent. She'd learned all this stuff from her work in the mainstream. She started a channel, or she already had a channel, and she's been streaming regularly. She's set up a regular show. She's building her own audience. She isn't just relying on going on other shows, but she also is going on other shows to expand her influence. She's not just relying on, I'm going to join Comicsgate. And she joined Comicsgate because she agreed with us. And she saw that this is where the fun is and the action is, and I agree with that. And she's had a huge success. I don't know how many backers she's got, but it's hundreds and hundreds, and she's made tens and tens of thousands of dollars. People are raving about her book. She just won the Fragtober. Yeah, she's a great example of what's possible in Comicsgate in 2021 if you've got the talent and you're willing to put in the work.
Okay, I've got a bunch of other guests joining in the back room, and I want to thank all you guys for coming on and talking. Before you leave, though, any final words, or even if you had any advice? Say there's a young creator now in the chat watching this stream. We've got 81 people watching. There's a new creator to Comicsgate. He's unsure how to market his book. He's unsure to make a YouTube channel. What advice would you guys give to the newcomers?
Get in the chats.
Get in the chat. Come and hang out. You don't have to go on my chat. You don't have to go on LordCrackHead. You don't have to go on Dark Gifts. You don't even have to go on Ethan's. Try them out. Try them all out. Find the crowd that you like best. Everyone is slightly different. There's little kind of cliques in CG. Hang out. Say hello. Make friends. Do that for about 3 to 6 months. And just have fun. That's the number
just get in the
one
chats
thing
and
you
meet
can
people. Cultivate relationships at first, and just meet people. Just be yourself. And I would, and like I said, I would say not to even bring up your book the first couple of times you're jumping in the chat.
Probably a good idea if you don't.
Yeah, let them get to know you. Make it crack jokes. Get involved with the with what's going on and stuff like that, and then slowly and surely, like you said, after like a couple of months, then you can start saying, hey, I have an idea for a book. I'm going to be putting it together, even if it's already together. Just make it sound like, just because if you jump in and go, hey guys, my name's so and so, I'm new and I got a book, they're going to be like, all right, well, is that all you're here for, or do you really want to be a part of this community? You know what I mean?
Which incidentally is what a lot of those guys at the bottom of that list have done. And the ones that have realized that, hey, that was probably not the best idea to do, and changed, and come in and actually hung out, some of them have actually ended up doing quite well in Comicsgate.
Yeah, absolutely. So before we bring on my next batch of guests, Dark Gift, this is Hunting Alice, your book. It's still in demand. I just thought I'd give it a quick shout out. How's it progressing?
Really well. I'm actually they're not finished. I got a couple of pages on the table over there, but I'm also working on the variant cover for Lightbringer, which is Liz Schochill and Vic King's book that I'll be publishing for them. So I got a lot of artwork on my desk right now. So, but everything's in. I finally got all this other stuff in, so now it's just inking these pages and getting it off to the printer.
All right, very cool. Bancroft, the Lucent 2. I backed the Lucent. I've got it. Actually, I haven't read it yet. It's sitting on my couch with Deus Vult by John Della Rose. Any word on the Lucent 2 when you plan on watching that?
I am finishing up coloring of Replicator 3 for Rob Arnold mid this month. As soon as that happens, I will be working to launch the mailing list. That'll probably be around for about 3 months. So expect the Lucent Painted Death to launch some point in early 2022.
Oh, very cool.
Very cool.
And LordCrackHead, you've taken up the comic book review format. I used to review comic books on Well Red's channel. I caught one of yours the other day. I'll edit the description too to find your channel there. Guys, any final thoughts? Any last words?
Any new creators that are trying to get into CG, that would be my first bit of advice. Just get in the chats, meet people, be yourself, and then everything else will kind of develop organically.
Cool.
I'll say subscribe to Smug Pug.
Yes.
This channel is probably
melee button.
This show is actually more subdued than the usual shows. This channel won't be long for the world, Bancroft.
Hey, there's we need all different kinds of shows because there's all different kinds of people that read comics.
Yeah, more the better.
I agree with that. Dark Gift, any final thoughts?
No, just thanks for having me come on and comment from our perspective on some of these things. Just one thing, you guys were also talking about late books earlier, and I know a lot of people don't like to hear. It was like when you say, "Oh, well, this is crowdfunding," you need to expect that it might be late. I get there's a point where even that goes out the window. You know what I mean? Like for some people it's a month, for some people it's 3 months, 6 months, a year, whatever that is for you. It is for you. But I think as for the creators, they shouldn't take advantage of the fact that they're crowdfunding and it can be expected to be late. I think you should really try to get your books out on time, or if you're gonna be late, not make it too much later than what you promised. So that's all I gotta say.
All right, very cool. Well, once again, guys, thanks for joining me. Down in the description, you can find links to Bancroft's, LordCrackHead's channel, and Dark Gift's channel, and Hunting Alice. And guys, thanks for coming here and being a part of the conversation.
No worries. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah. Have a good one.
You too. All right, let's take a little quick look in the chat and see what everyone's saying. Jabba says, "Don't listen to these losers." Jabba, you are something else, Jabba. Matt C's here. What's up, Matt? He says, "I only sub after the shows that have infighting." Well, I will be dropping the StreamYard link at the end of the show so people can come back on. Hopefully there'll be no infighting. I've got a headache after the last show. And Niobe says to check my DMs. While I'm doing that, we've heard from the critics, we've heard from the creators. Now it's time to hear from the customers. So I've grabbed a few customers who I know have backed books. I've talked with them about it before. So please welcome to the show, Stupendus.
Hello, nice to be here.
Thanks for joining me. Mecha.
I thought we were reviewing Transformers.
Stop!
no Transformers.
We never finished the Beast Wars.
No Beast Wars.
We can review Beast Wars on the spinner rack on your show.
Let's do it right now.
No, I don't. The only thing the chat hates more than NFTs, Mecha, is Beast Wars talk. Trust me, I know.
I have a Beast Wars NFT.
We also have D-Shot.
D-Shot.
Oh, hey. What's up, guys? Oh, it's me first. I thought there was going to be someone else before me. Now you messed up the order.
We also have Morg.
Oh, there you go.
And the guy who gets us all into trouble, Mr. Amit Rayner.
Hi, guys. How are you?
Amit. So, guys, have you been watching the show?
Oh, yes.
What do you think so far?
I have.
What do you
Well, do you mind if I go first? Because I'll just try to be quick. You know,
Go ahead, yeah.
I've been collecting comics for the past going on 30 years now, and I'm seeing a trend. I'm seeing history repeat itself with CG from what Image did in 1992. I was a junior or sophomore in high school when Spawn #1 came out, and Image was the rage. I mean, we have these creators bucking the system, going on their own, tackling the mainstream. You know, and that's exactly what CG is doing now. I mean, that's the parallel. But what happened to Image? Their late books killed their momentum. And that's what happened with CG last year and this year. We have people that have backed books in 2019, 2018. They're still waiting for them. And that's what Image did. They had their Wetworks, Wildcats, Youngblood. Those were the hot hits. We were going to get them, and people were waiting months and months and months for these books to get an issue 2 out. And I just don't want to see CG following that footsteps. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand. I'll just address Isaac. Smug, why didn't you give Ethan the link? I thought Ethan was going to be on the Jack show tonight, but I will be dropping the StreamYard link at the end. So stay tuned, guys, in the chat.
Yeah, it's too many parallels with what happened with Image in the 90s to what CG is doing in the 2020s. You know, I just don't want to see them following that late book route where they're not getting their stuff out and it totally loses all the momentum. That's where the dip is right now, is because we're not getting the books in our hand as customers.
Speaking of late books, Literature Devil's book is like 2 years late. Nobody's ever called him out on that.
Who's
Yeah,
Literature Devil?
Yeah,
He's
these
like-
late books.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
What book is that?
It's a Doc Alpha. Like, I think he's kind of like Tug. I consider him like, you know, he's only CG when he wants to be like Tug, you know.
That's Literature Devil.
Hey
I think.
there.
Yeah.
Hey there.
I think I've seen some War Campaign guys give him some crap about it on Twitter, but that's about it.
Yeah. He's got like 100K subscribers or something. I don't know, man. Like, If like, just be honest. At one point, if you want to be a YouTuber and you want to game the algorithm, just tell me like you're not interested in the comic making, and I'm like, it's like okay, I'll unsubscribe and I'll move on with my money. You know.
Well,
Like,
D-Shot, the
Jesus.
reason, like you and I have talked about this a fair bit privately, but you're an early backer of Comicsgate. I think you grabbed like Jawbreakers and a couple of others.
Yeah.
And then you stopped backing. So like from the
Yeah,
customer's
I left
perspective-
so I left most of the Comicsgate's book that I got with my roommate when I moved out because I you know, I'm gonna be honest, I did not think the writing was up to par at all. Like, sure, these are comics. I'm not expecting Shakespeare, but give me some fucking bang for my buck, man. I get it, it's first-time writers, but you know, you got all these industry pros coming in, and there was a lot of big promises. There was a lot of stuff about Zach, and say we all know how that turned out. I don't have to start again, you know. A lot of these guys just, you know, didn't have editors or competent people looking over their script, and it just kind of soured me. So
the comparison to Image isn't completely fair either, because Image was a coordinated what do you call it when they're like you're working together?
they were like a unified force, you know.
Well,
they had a purpose.
They were organized. Comicsgate has never been organized.
My parallel is
there's never been a
the
leader.
lateness of it, though. That's my parallel is the lateness. Look at the momentum Image had coming in with Spawn, Wildcats, and Youngblood. That was the talk. That was the talk of everything in '92. And now
Yeah, but you could put all the late
everybody's talking about
books.
Cyberprog in that.
You could put all
Go ahead.
the late books on what 3 or 4 guys that founded the shit. You can't really put every late book.
Isn't
on
that what
Ethan,
we're
right?
doing? Isn't that what we're doing?
Well,
Isn't that what we're
I think-
yelling at these creators?
I think the problem is everyone fell into this subjectivity stuff that the SJWs pull. Like, oh, what is CG? We don't know what it is. Well, then, how do you have an objective? You guys don't even agree on the same things. I don't even know if this guy like believes what I believe about CG or indies or whatever, and then I'm backing into it, and at some point it's become, oh, you just back who you like. Like, okay, that's where the momentum is gone, you know? There's a lot of personal investment that just kind of disappeared.
And it's not completely fair to say that every comic book in Comicsgate is late, right?
Yeah.
That's
There are
why I
people
don't
who get out on time. Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that's on time, and there's a lot of stuff that's late.
I just want to make a point. Look, it's very easy to say not all in every argument, and you can always say this doesn't happen. But people love hiding behind it, like, oh, not every campaign is late, not everything is, you know, things. But there are other things in CG which are kind of shady. I would like to bring up, how about Rob Arnold poaching an artist from another artist and nobody else calls it out? That's weird to me, that we're a community and yet we think it's okay to poach artists from other people. I don't know. I never endorsed stealing, but I guess it's okay in CG and people still back him. That's really weird to me. I don't know. What do you think about that?
So obviously you're talking about the story I think Vicky and Dean ran, I think on, was it Sunday? I think it was Sunday. So you're bringing up the professional behavior of some creators, and that's kind of soured you on their works. In particular, I guess we're naming names. Rob Arnold.
Yeah, of course I'm naming names. Everybody should name names. Why should we have such people associated with our movement? I don't get it. Unless there are different rules for different people. And then, fair enough, man.
Morg, you were an early backer of a lot of
Yeah,
these
I was
films, and I've spoken to you privately, and you mentioned that you'd stopped backing crowdfunding.
Yeah.
Do you want to go into that a little bit?
Yeah, I'm also representative of the dead subscriber demographic too, largely. Late books. I don't think that really bothered me as much as it bothered some people, because I probably wasn't gonna read most of them anyways. To be honest, I was backing a lot in the early days just because it was exciting. I joined when it was going from customer consumer movement to, some blend of that plus one with products and marketing platform. Everyone was pissed off at Mark Waid. We had just lost your boy Zach. There was a lot of stuff going on. You just fixed all the entertainment, and then was like being at a big concert, and you just, there was energy, it was excitement. You just start throwing money around and buying T-shirts and posters and whatever else. And then, at a certain point, I just realized, like, I'm just addicted to, like, the, big meta story and the human drama, and that was enough for me. I didn't need the books anymore. Like, that was more compelling, and that's why I'm still here. So
I agree with him. The narrative and the drama around creators and all this shit show somehow has better writing to it and construction than their storybooks.
Oh, totally. Totally.
Yeah.
This is
it's
like,
just
it's
hard
like
to
a soap
compete
opera.
with. Yeah. And it's a soap opera that we're all kind of in, even those of us that are just kind of watching. We've all been part of it, it's like 3 years of shared history. And I mean, say what you will about him, one way or the other. Like, people love Ethan, they give him a lot of crap. I'm still an Ethan fan. I don't think he was trying to start a big circus around himself. That's just how he is, and that's what happened. And I like the circus. It's been a lot of fun. I've met people. My life is different because Ethan showed up in the Summer of Love and started fighting with someone over, a transcript and stuff and all the rest. And God, and all, no complaints. 7 out of 10 would do it all again.
Exactly.
I mean,
Me too.
There's a lot of money involved, so it's funny when you start seeing people like spurg out on the internet, and you're like, well, I guess I don't have to care about my book. This guy's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, there's other stuff too. Like, okay, like did you guys see the Rocket campaign?
Yeah.
That's the Steve Dye book. That's the magazine that used to be CG Jumpstart. Correct.
Yeah, it's a $50 advert that we have to pay for. How's that pro-consumer?
You don't have to pay for that.
If he wants it, he has to.
Okay, but we're promoting it, right? You're basically asking customers to pay for advertisements.
Okay.
Well, they're getting pages of, it looks like, sequential art and interviews. That's not just an advertisement.
Yeah, it's advertisements.
So, Mecha, what are you still backing books? You and I used to always talk about books we'd back. I think you recommended The Dragon Guard by Kevin Sharp. Are you still out there backing books and following all of this, or have you largely moved on? I think the last time I watched your channel, I think you were doing gaming videos.
Oh, I don't really do anything anymore. My real life has become interesting enough that the pandemic interest I had in Comicsgate has waned over time, and now I don't know. I guess for my piece, I would say that I don't want to criticize Comicsgate anymore because there's a lot of people. I don't want to go into their intentions or not, but I just never want to be in a position where I do anything to prevent somebody from putting their book out, even if it's a shitty book like Dragoonite Aldrake. I think where I am as a person now, I just never want to stop anyone else's creativity.
That's a
good
fair
point.
to have. Yeah.
Yeah. And Amit, what were you going to be talking about? Digital stuff. You wanted to talk about that?
Yeah, that's something I would like to say. I would say, at least for international backers, I think digital makes sense because shipping is crazy, and I think you can't get around that, and I understand. But digital should be an option because it doesn't make sense that I'm paying sometimes more than the cost of the book for shipping. It really makes it prohibitive. I mean, I could literally back 2 books rather than like 2 different campaigns than one. So I think digital is something people should look into. I guess some artists don't like it, but I think it should be open out there just to be, we're a pro-consumer movement, so we should try to have pro-consumer policies.
I should say this about shipping prices, because I live internationally, and when I bought Doug Ernst's book, he actually forgot to put my order in the mail, and then he had to ship it for me, and he said he was going to cover that. So he ended up paying $100 for all of that, because, it was to cover his mistake. Stand-up guy, good customer service, but yeah, the shipping fee is always a fucking hassle,
So at this point, there are specific creators that you guys will back based on their behavior and
Yeah. Well, you know,
customer
if you have a Discord server and the first person who goes in there is Lunga or Preston or JDA to just talk about their book, I'm out. Like, fuck them, man. I don't want to hear about your book for the 50th time. Fuck you. I'm not interested in buying it. Like, all right.
I guess
I'm
shots
not
fired.
backing. I'm not backing any books really lately anymore. But one thing that's really stood out to me is all these female-led books. Obviously, I'm a chauvinist, and obviously I have a problem with women. But I got to ask all the men writing these female characters, why do you pretend to be women? Why do you live out these fantasies as a woman? What's wrong with
I
you?
don't know. I don't know. But I have a question for you, Smug. Smug.
Yeah,
Since
sure,
you
go
are a YouTube creator now, technically, do you think that these comic creators are being too personal with their customers? Do you think that's why some of these people aren't backing the stuff, because they are getting into these squiffs and squabbles with the people that might be actually buying their book? You know how, like D-Shot was saying, you know, he doesn't want to hear a creator, you know, go on and on about their book in a Discord server, you know, when they're being a dick to them, like on a YouTube stream or something. You know, what do you feel about
Or when
that?
a
Do you feel like there's
conversation
no
is
disconnect?
going. Yeah, like a conversation is going, it's not a point for you to insert your book at every turn, you know.
Or
Well,
just
to be honest,
should there be a disconnect between creator and customer, that this YouTube is just giving people a chance to just say whatever they want to
Women
anybody?
didn't win World War II.
Shut up.
Well,
I can only speak. I can only speak about my personal preference too. But when it comes to, I guess, creative behavior towards the fans, I'm a firm believer in separating the art from the artist. Like, I'll back anyone. I back Ethan. I back John Malin. I back Liam Gray. I back Tim Lim. I back Doug Tenaple. I back Mike S. Miller. I've even got a couple of Preston's book. I backed War Campaign. Like, when it comes to creative behavior, that's not really something I care about. If the book looks good and, you know, I'm interested in it, you can call me a piece of shit and anti-CG or whatever you want. I don't care. I'll still buy your book. I don't care. I separate the art from the artist.
Yeah.
That's because you're
already
a
got your
cuck,
docs.
you know. Yeah, you're a cuck.
If you're a man and your hero's a woman, I'm out.
I think the value proposition is what you got to look at, right? I think the biggest problem right now is the turnaround time. Most average CG books right now, I think, the average turnaround time is what, over a year? From what everybody's here, about a year. Am I wrong in that?
Yeah, if we're lucky, it's a year.
Yeah, that's if you're lucky, right? It's about a year, I would say. And I think that has to be cut down because, you know, like I have backed so many books. I was on my Indiegogo the other day. I had to cancel a lot of them because I was like, man, books have been over a year and a half late, and I forgot about backing them. And, you know, I just think that a lot of creators take that for granted. I think, you know, if you can't get a book out in 6 months, then don't launch your campaign. It really, you know, is a big negative for me because I don't want to wait that long. I can't wait more than 6 months personally. And I think it's fair. You know, if you're not that far along, don't launch your campaign. Wait a bit. Start, maybe do 75% of the book and then launch your campaign or something.
Or at least 50. 50 would be a great, you know, get it half done and then start shilling it to people saying, look, I got this. It's half done. I'm going to start my campaign up. And then in 6 months, 7 months, get the rest of it done.
Yeah, because sometimes people, they haven't even opened a page or made a script or anything, and then their campaign closes and they still haven't done anything.
Yeah,
and
it's still just an idea floating around.
Died.
Yeah.
Customers have actually died waiting for their books.
Yeah.
I mean, that should never happen.
Yep. Like probably for me, more than the late stuff, you know, one way or the other on that. There's lack of frequency, and I don't blame creators. I'm not mad at them. I mean, without a whole company behind you, it's harder to put stuff out fast. But I probably wasn't going to be a long-term supporter anyways, because I was really into floppies and I liked story more than art, and I just always wanted more of it, you know. And sometimes you'd get it 2 times a month at the spinner rack or whatever, and that feeling's not here for me personally, you know. That's another reason I probably fell away from things.
Look at how much homosexuality is in mainstream comics right now. When I think of, when I think of comic books,
Mecha,
I think of them the same way that
Mecha,
I
it's
think of.
bisexuality,
Hang
not
on.
homosexuality. There's
Hang
a
on.
difference, you know.
Hang on. Let me make my point. I think of mainstream comic books the same way I think of San Francisco. It's a gay thing gay people do for gay people.
There's shit everywhere. Yeah.
It's all about gays. It's a gay thing to do now, to read a mainstream comic book.
I'm not sure if any of these Liams are the real Liam. I do not know what's going on in the chat. This is confusing the hell out of it. Can the real Liam please stand up? But yeah,
I mean,
continue, guys, sorry.
Smug, if you can have a baby in the time it takes to make a comic book, you know, you should be able to do that. You know, we shouldn't be waiting 9 months to a year for a comic anymore. We shouldn't.
Yeah, and I think anything over a year, I mean, you know, people should refund it at that point because you know.
I'm not saying refund, ram it. I'm just saying, you know,
I
just
would say
don't back
refund
the
because,
next
like,
one.
look,
You know.
Yeah, well, either which way, like I'm not going to back anybody who's been over a year late because you know I just can't trust these people anymore because just look at your competition, right? At price points, right? So let's see, the average CG book with a supplemental is what, $50 plus shipping. I would say so around $75 to let's say $100 if you go international with shipping. You can get an omnibus for that, like absolute editions from DC, from like getting the whole Crisis Saga, getting the whole Blackest Night. You know,
I ordered an omnibus of a manga at $27.99. You know, 858 pages. That's way more worth my money than you know. So
Yeah, that's Comicsgate, you know, got me buying some older stuff too again, and started buying some manga too.
The other day, I bought the whole what was it, Crisis of Infinite Earths, right? I got the whole box set, Absolute Edition, and it cost me what, $180 with shipping, right? And that's like the whole, all the arcs, everything in black in hardcover. So you know, there is
I
a lot
think
of
we're just missing calendars on every campaign. That's what it is.
I agree, Deadshot. We need more calendars. But guys, we've hit the 2-hour mark. I still planned on dropping the StreamYard link in the chat to see what everyone else had to say.
Well, thank you for having me on.
Well,
thank you for having us on, Smug. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Well, before you guys leave, I'll give each of you like a final speech, and if you want to come back in once the StreamYard link goes in the chat, feel free. Like, I'll be bringing people on, and we'll go for a little bit longer. But Stu, any final thoughts as a customer, on the customer perspective?
Yeah, just keep making the good stuff. Make the stuff better than the mainstream so we don't have to buy the mainstream. But in turn, still, you got to put it out to us because we're used to buying books every month. You know, that's what we did. A new book would come out each month. That's what we're used to. And now a book has got to come out a year. You know, we're going to have our attention's going to be drawn to something else. You know, we have short attention spans, you know, and if we have to wait this long for something, your momentum just dies. And as me as a customer, I'm going to look for something else too, you know, while I'm waiting. And I might find something better and I might not buy your stuff anymore. You know, so you got to look at it that way, you know. Hold our attention while you got it. That's it.
Yeah.
All right, Mecha, any thoughts?
Yeah, Comicsgate started because SJWs were making everything gay in comics, and they're also making really bad comics. That's why Richard's videos were so interesting. CG, as a reaction to it, they're not making better books yet, and they're making a lot of books about being women. Now, I don't want to criticize CG anymore because I think a lot of times, and this is myself included, the critics can become worse than what they're criticizing. But you know, give me a book where you're not pretending to be a woman. And women didn't win World War II.
Okay, so less women in Comicsgate books, Mecha. that's what I'm hearing.
I want an all-male comic book where the men love each other.
Mecha's not a fan of Anna's Calendar, I'm guessing.
If you back Anna's Calendar, I don't know what to tell you.
I think Yeah, well, I'm not going to disclose that. D-Shot, any final thoughts, sir?
No, I've said my piece. You can all go fuck yourselves.
Okay. Morg, final thoughts from the customer perspective?
Yeah, I just want to remind everyone that Comicsgate caused us all to meet Jabba. And back his book. It can't possibly be late. It's only going to be one page. All right,
Okay.
thank you.
Sounds great. Amit, this is your moment, Amit. What have you got to say
All Ah,
to the
right,
good
so
people watching?
I have something a bit profound to say. I think CG needs to make up its mind that if it's actually a fan movement, you know, made for the fans, by the fans, or is it a fan club? And that's something which I think everybody needs to make out for itself, because currently I think CG is leaning towards being a fan club and no longer a fan movement driven by the fans.
All right. That's a good question to
Oh,
ask.
one more thing, Smug. One more thing.
Yeah.
Women are stupid, and I don't respect them.
No, no, no. I'm out of here. Bye, guys. Have a
Okay.
good night.
All right. See you, Stu. Bye, Amit.
See you.
All right, guys, and that was the customers. Whew, let's just have a quick look in the chat before I drop the StreamYard link. I'm guessing this is probably where the yelling will begin. I'm sure there's plenty of people who want to come on and yell. Jabba says, that was the best thing Morg ever said. Mike's still here and says, lol, Amit for the win. A lot of Amit fans in here. Well, no, there's a Testify fan. Amit is correct. This chat keeps jumping on me. I keep highlighting the wrong comments. Nail on the head. All right, unexpectedly deep, Amit. All right. Well, here we go, guys. It's going to be a little different. I'm not going to be bringing on 10 people at once. I think those sorts of streams are a nightmare to manage. Everyone talks over each other. It's just not good for conversation. I'm actually going to be taking a little bit of inspiration from Liam. He used to do the show called the CG Core, where it was him and 5 guests at a time, and those seem to work pretty well. So I'm dropping the StreamYard link in the chat. If you've got something to say about this stream, if you've got something to say about the issues that we've raised, feel free to call in now. You'll be given, I don't know, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, depending, I guess, on the conversation. And yeah, we'll go for a little bit longer, Jack Stafford says, great job, Amit Rayner. And Jabba says, it's bound with staples, Smug Pug. How can a one-page book be bound with staples? That is ridiculous. All right, we've got our first caller. Let me just check. It is really him. We've had some imposters lately. TJ Swan, how are you this evening?
What's up, dog? Greetings. I missed all of it. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was looking forward to watching this, but I got
you missed all of it.
pretty much. But I did see like EVS. So, I think if I want to ask you, if you don't mind, so what transpired tonight? What do you think?
Oh, this is just
Did you pull it off? Did you pull it off?
I think it went
what you was
okay.
trying to pull off?
I think it went okay. I was just trying to, ever since Liam and Oz's show ended, I think there's been a certain gap in Comicsgate content. I kind of want a place where, you know, anyone can come on, speak their mind, including this guy. Welcome, Niobe Larry.
Hey, what's the word?
Hey, what's up, Larry?
Hey, speaking of which, is my audio clear?
Your audio is clear, sir. How am I? Am I good?
You're both a little rusty, but it's fine. This is
I'm at work
calling
on
section of the show.
headset. I'm even lucky to be here, Smeeg. But
Hey, so look.
What
What
is
did
the
I?
Smeeg Pig show, right?
It sure is.
Before we get into retardedness, what did I miss? I mean, I'll watch it in the morning if I have to, but what did I miss? When I was in the sub shop, I seen Dutch and April and Mike got Smeller right, and then I left because I got a phone call from a couple of friends, whatever. And, you know, I left alone, whatever. And I came back. So what did I miss?
I just tried to organize it. It's a stream I've been trying to organize for a while. I wanted a bunch of different creators, critics, comic skaters, former comic skaters, War Campaign, Everybody and anybody, including this guy. What's up, Testify?
No.
Hi,
Oh
smug
my
pug.
God.
How are you doing
Oh my
this
God.
evening?
Lord
Welcome.
mercy.
I'll bring you back in a
I'm
sec. TJ seems to be a little
okay.
unnerved. Okay.
Yeah, I
don't
don't.
want to be on a stream with that
Yeah,
cat either. So if you got
I'm
questions
not.
for me,
It's
ask
too
them
much.
before Testify comes.
Believe me, I've had plenty of people telling me over the past 24 hours
Yeah.
they don't want to be on a stream with Testify. So
It's
I'll
not
bring
that.
him on
I'm good with him.
strategically.
I'm good with him, but I'm good with him. I'm just trying to be serious. So, what campaign get on?
Panboy came on to talk.
Because you was talking about the promotion of smaller creators and how things change. And like I said, I'm gonna go back and watch it in the morning. Did anything get accomplished?
Probably not, but maybe we're all.
All right.
It was just a conversation, TJ. It was a conversation, an open forum,
Okay.
a state of Comicsgate, if you will.
Okay. All right, look, I tell you what, I did see EVS in the chat. So if the king is listening, you got somebody's there.
I'm surprised he was here. Actually, I thought he'd be on the Jack show.
I told you he'd be floating around, brother.
Yeah, well, I couldn't do this. I organized this stream like a week ago. Like, spent a lot of time messaging the guests. Some people pulled out, others agreed to come on. It took a while to get all the articles and data and kind of organize it and familiarize myself with it. Actually, it took a lot of effort. So, and it was all planned for tonight. And I'm going to be taking a break from streaming for the next week or two because of
Don't do that. Don't do that, B. Don't do that.
I've got some IRL stuff like going. So tonight was the only night that I could, like the last night I could do it. So
you can't fade into the ether. You know what I'm saying? Especially for a week. If you notice, as far as YouTube go, and what you're doing is you're now trying to be a YouTuber. You have to stay on top of that shit. You know what I'm saying?
well,
motherfuckers
I
want your
don't really
content.
consider myself. I don't really consider myself a YouTube. This is just supposed to be.
But you are a YouTuber though.
No, I'm not a YouTuber. No.
But you're a YouTuber.
But YouTube is.
But you're a YouTuber.
Welcome, Todd Lennon. What the fuck happened to your face, sir?
That's the Russian. That's like, ain't that the Russian national anthem? Ain't that like the Russian national anthem?
I hate commies, but goddamn, I love that song.
Yeah, I know. I love that shit too. No bullshit. I actually love that shit. It's like the Russian national anthem. Mother Russia, Mother Russia.
Yeah, Spirit's got a point here. You might want to watch out.
I think the Russian national anthem is copyright
I
free. They're
didn't know if I was
communists.
supposed to stand at
They don't
attention or
believe
what,
in.
man.
They don't believe in copyright and capitalism.
Look, out of all the national anthems, ain't that shit dope though? The Russian national anthem. That's good music. I don't know what the fuck they said. Just yeah. All right.
It's rather inspirational for this stream. Niobe, your device is not connected. I think you need to fix something there to rejoin. The StreamYard link is still in the chat.
I'm a fan of classical music. I truly am a fan of classical music. Yeah.
All right. Well, TJ, did you have anything you wanted to say while you're here? It's an open forum. You're free to speak your mind.
Well, who was that guy that just did that, and why did he do that?
That was Todd Lennon.
Okay.
So Smeeg, interesting show tonight, man. You brought up a lot of different points. I only got a short amount of time, right? Because I am at work, right? So if there's anything, because you and I had talked, and you said that you want me to come on with Lunga to do a segment, and I wasn't sure if I could commit to that because I am working. So was there anything you wanted to pick my brain about?
Yeah, I was
Oh,
going to ask
you?
you and Lunga. I was going to ask you and Lunga about Indiegogo and Kickstarter, and like what platform you preferred, or if they're both equal, or what your thoughts on the whole Indiegogo versus Kickstarter debate was.
Well, I mean, personally, I got my start on Kickstarter. It's where the majority of Niobe fans are. To give you an example, the last Niobe campaign did about 24 grand. When we did Indiegogo, it did about 4 grand, right? But I guess that depends on the circles that you're in and the networks that you're a part of, because I find that
Of course.
Indiegogo, primarily, not to the exact, rule, but a lot of it is primarily a CG sort of comic book platform.
Correct.
If you are, popular in the CG circles, you're probably going to do better on Indiegogo than you will on Kickstarter. I find that for the type of books that we do, okay, and by we, I mean me and a whole other group of guys that people don't even know about, because there is a third group of people out there. We're a bunch of guys that do image-like comics from the 90s that feature a lot of bad girls. And I'm talking to
Okay, hey, look. So look. How did you find your way over here?
Just because I'm a YouTuber. I mean, I run a YouTube channel, and all these things sort of cross over each other at some point,
Right.
But I mean, like, I used to stream with a guy off and on named Captain Cummings before he was even doing CG content. Captain Cummings back in the day was a flipper. He was an eBay flipper. And there was a ton of YouTube channels that would just talk about grading comics and selling comics on eBay. That's how I ran into Phil, I started comics in 2014 before there was a CG. Before I even knew what Indiegogo was, we were already on Kickstarter doing Niobe #1.
So look. I got a question.
Go ahead.
As far as CG go, I got you with Kickstarter. So hold that thought for a second.
Yeah, sure.
As far as CG go, like, it seems like CG went away from. It was like the mainstream was the old boys, fuck them, nigga suck a dick, and then it went to like guys like myself, but not myself. Actually, not myself. I'm talking about normal guys like myself. That I could think of a story and I could try to write it. You know what? I can do this, and it offered opportunities to diehard comic book fans that never been presented before. But then all of a sudden, it got shifted right back to the good old boys. Am I wrong with that?
Sort of, because you never needed CG to make good comic books. I'm not CG, and I think we make a pretty damn good comic book, and we've worked with a lot of pros in the industry. In fact, we're now doing books with Antarctic Press, and we're on shelves this coming Wednesday. I think that market making a good comic book is just that. You make a good comic book. Where you sort of stand politically or socially shouldn't really matter.
Shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter at all. It shouldn't matter at all.
To the work, right? And that's always been my philosophy: is I don't sort of need the wave of flag. I'm not, Comicsgate. I'm not SJW. I don't want to work for them either. What I am is like Brian Pulido. He's talking comics. Well, I'm Niobe Comics.
So
that's what we do.
All right, now that being said, that being said, does it seem like CG is more of who you know and who you line up with, whatever? Isn't that the same shit that we was trying to get away from? Okay,
I
so
think
look,
that's just human being behavior in general, right?
I hold on one second. I apologize. Please let me say this.
Sure.
All right. So then the things was the books are turning into shit. Wolverine's gay. Everybody's gay. SJW shit. It got bad. And I promise you, so I ain't read comic books or whatever. The last time I read a comic book, Star Wars Legacy. Legacy. I was deep into that. Now before then, when I was a kid, I used to read all that shit. You know what I'm saying? But then I ended up getting old. I started fucking and fuck comic books. You know what I'm saying? It happened that way.
Welcome to the show, Hargrave.
Hello.
He's got an echo though. Someone's got an
But I came
do
back.
I have an echo? I'm sorry, TJ. Do I have an echo?
It might be me. I muted myself. It's okay.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry about that. Go ahead, TJ. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh no, you're cool. But I was diehard comic books. I used to draw the stuff, and then eventually I hit my late teens and all that stuff. But then I came back with Star Wars Legacy. Star Wars Legacy brought me back. You know what I'm saying? New Star Wars movie, whatever. And then Ethan, whatever. All right, so I can't say that I know all the stories of everything, but I can say that you can smell that. Is this shit a gruff?
So what are you saying, TJ? You're kind of confusing me, and the viewers are dropping like flies
I
because
don't
you have
understand.
really bad audio. So what's your point, sir? What's the point, sir?
I think it's a fucking gruff.
What's a grift? Comicsgate?
I think Comicsgate is a fucking grift.
Why do you think that?
Because I think that it used to be about the creators, and it was dope. It was real dope when it was an open door for young creators being promoted, and people that never thought and presented the opportunity never thought we had, like artists, colorists, writers, whatever. But then all of a sudden it switched to EVS own it, and it's his boys, and it turned into a grift.
Well, I'll tell you this. You know, you asked me about Kickstarter and Indiegogo, and then earlier on in the program, you guys had a list of, you know, comics.
I'm talking about comics.
I got to finish now, right? That either have made it, that were done by pros, or that, you know, Smugpipe had said were somewhat struggling, that were done by, you know, smaller creators, right? The truth of the matter is when you get into this business, hardly anyone's going to be an overnight success. You have a better chance of winning the lottery.
But Comicsgate was pure. Comicsgate was pure. It was pure.
Okay. Well, we're getting a lot of
I can't even get a word in, man. I mean, I'm not trying to be rude or nothing, but geez.
TJ, any final thoughts, sir? Anything you'd like to impart on the viewers? I'm probably going to wrap this stream up pretty soon.
Thank you for having me. I apologize.
No, it's all right, man.
Thanks for calling in, TJ.
I'd like to say something if you don't mind here. My view on this is, okay, now this is going to be, I'm not trying to troll CGM, but I'd like people to think about this, and I don't know shit about comics. Why don't the people write the comics and have everything drawn out ahead of time, ready to go, and then crowdfund?
Well,
is that
that's
just
how
like
it's
not
generally done in Marvel and DC. Generally, they work months and months ahead. I mean, if Van Skyver's still in the chat, he'll tell you that he's drawn Green Lantern 4 or 5 months before it even hits the preview magazine. That's how they're able to do that and stay on top and have a monthly deadline.
Okay.
And even then, those deadlines are tough to meet. They're often working to the bare last second and sometimes a little late to push and meet those deadlines. It's demanding and grueling working for the mainstream like that.
And the other thing is, Ethan and a lot of these CG guys, they're independent. That's this. I argued this with Pan on Finatra stream about this, and yeah, their Wrecked Planet is late and stuff, but he's one man, and yeah, he's got a warehouse now, and he's expanding, but he is one person. And no, I'm not making excuses. The book is late, but at the same time, these people, CG is not Marvel and DC where they have these mass printing things and can do all that. What we need to look at is the people that are independent getting the books out on time. How are they getting them out? That's what CG should be looking at.
Well,
how are they?
It's not that hard. I mean, I've been doing this for 7 years, and I've always gotten IOB out on time, and I'm just one guy in Canada. You know, you just have to plan accordingly. You have to not underestimate shipping costs. You have to know realistically how long it's going to take to do your book and do it right, and even then, probably add on an extra month or two, and that will probably what ends up happening. I always add an extra month or two to any fulfillment date I give out, just because I know there could be a possible snag. You know what I mean? And so, and usually there is. And then I'm glad, thank God I gave myself that extra month so we're not running late. I mean, it's a matter of just better business planning, to be honest with you.
I guess. Right. I mean, I'm not in the comics thing. I have no idea. I mean, I really think CG should look at the people that are getting their books out, like how are they doing it? But, I mean, I don't know nothing about comics. I don't make them or nothing, so that's it.
All right. All right, guys, we've been streaming for 2 hours and 20 minutes. I need to go for a cigarette. This has been a been a grueling one, but Niobe, I want to thank you for coming on. I did plan on having you and Lunga on to talk about Indiegogo first Kickstarter.
Well, we can do that talk another time. If you ever do one of these, I'll come back on, brother. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I think the chat enjoyed hearing Mike and Doug talk about NFTs and D-Shot talking about his experiences as a customer. I think they're all hooked. We've still got 75 people watching this for some reason. So
well, then let me just say, while we got the viewers, please go buy Exciting Comics 17 this coming Wednesday. If you still like comic books and you still want something cool and you don't want to pay the overpriced shipping, guys, I get it. $4.99. Exciting Comics 17. Niobe's right on the front cover. Beautiful cover, by the way, by Image's very own Randy Green from Witchblade. Buy at least for the cover, but hopefully you love the story inside, and you'll see more Niobe with Antarctic Press, in the near future.
All right, very good. So that's Exciting Comics number 17, guys, coming out this Monday. You'll see Niobe Larry's Niobe in there. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Anytime, brother. Oh, sorry, Hargrave. I misclicked. Do you have any final thoughts on the stream? Did you watch the whole thing, Hargrave?
Yeah, I watched it from beginning to end. I thought it was excellent. I didn't really have much complaints, but I did want to point out that I'm still waiting on Fiendish, the color version. Did you order the black and white one?
Yeah, I did.
The one?
Black and white. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, because it's 2 months behind. I mean, I'm not really blaming her or anything, but I mean, it is a bit frustrating. But I often thought I should have just got the black and white one, I guess. But I guess I'll just wait. Besides that, excellent show, man. Pretty good.
All right. Well, thanks for calling in, Hargrave. I appreciate it. All right, we've got one last caller. He's been sitting in the back like a good little boy. Let's bring him on and see what he's got to say. Testify, sir. What did you think of the show?
Thought it was the greatest fucking trash fire I've ever seen. It was beautiful.
You enjoyed it?
You have Smugpug, I meant every word I said. You have unified a community.
I like people, Testify. I like
I agree. You do. You have literally shown everybody's hand tonight. It is.
Jabba says he's
awesome.
very disappointed. Jabba says he's very disappointed in me. Testify.
Oh, I don't agree with that. I think you've done the Lord's work tonight. Being the Christian brother I am, because I want to be one of Liam's, brothers in Christ. I reach out to him.
Quaff says to shill Jabba's book, Smugpug. You can find Jabba's book on Shotgun Samurai by the Quaff. It is one page. I'm sure it'll be fantastic.
It has a staple in it. It has a staple in it.
Wait, how? No, come on now, explain this to me. How can one page...
I have no fucking clue how it's going to work, but he swears there's going to be a staple in the damn thing. It's going to be awesome.
It boggles my mind.
What were you thinking having Mike on here with his little smug attitude in the NFT thing? Jesus Christ. Here, I'll say what everybody in the chat's thinking. Good Lord. You let fucking Mike and goddamn Doug Tenable just blah, 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 blah with their little pyramid scheme bullshit that is, it's a joke. It's like, oh yeah, we're making all this money. The guy on his opening stream forgot the decimal points and realized not 80,000 I made $80. Shit. Yeah, that happened actually. I saw that. Yeah. That was beautiful.
That did happen.
Yeah, it did happen. But nobody wants to talk about that. Nobody.
Well, he bounced back. He made good on the second run. He made.
Oh no, he didn't. It's a pyramid scheme. Say what the people want to hear. Be the pug of the people.
The pug of the people.
Be the pug.
It's nearly 2.5 hours, so
it's not 2.5 hours. It's 2 hours, 28 minutes, and 10 seconds.
That's 2.5 hours.
That is not 2.5. You have 2 minutes left.
Okay.
Let's make this go 2 more minutes.
What would you like to talk about for the final minute and 40 seconds?
How about? Let's see here. What was campaign done lately?
They're doing the Bullet Maker book with Joe Ball.
Well, no, I thought that's just Gat, Hanzo, and Ro. So you mean Pan actually is part of it?
I don't know. I know. I think Pan said he wasn't a part of it. So War Campaign.
Was campaign. No, use the correct terminology. Was campaign.
Well, I think they're doing Dungeons and Dragons stuff now. When I took
they got kicked out of that community already. You didn't. You come on. You're up on this. You know it. They got thrown out of it the minute they started opening their mouths. Pan got thrown off for trying to attack a fucking, what's it called? UFC Antifa members off Twitter.
Well, I mean, that sounds like he's doing good work. I mean, going after the...
No, he got thrown off it because he couldn't shut his goddamn mouth. He got himself kicked off it, not because of anybody else, but himself.
Okay. Well, that is unfortunate. I'd like to thank you for joining us, Testify.
We still have 30 seconds to go.
Yes, but I need to do the outro. Okay, guys, thanks for watching the stream. I don't know why you'd still be watching it. We've gone on very longer than I planned to go. I want to thank everybody for coming on. I want to thank Mike S. Miller, Doug Tenaple, Vicky, Dean, Chris Tmulovich. Who else was there? There were so many people. Michael Bancroft, LordCrackHead, Lord Finatra, Dark Gift Comics. You can find links in the description to channels and projects. I need to edit some of it since some of the guests didn't show up. And I'll also be putting timestamps in the comment section so you guys can, I don't know, if you'd want to re-watch it and hear Doug and Mike talk about NFTs again, it'll be timestamped for your convenience. I don't think I'll be streaming for the next week and a half, 2 weeks. I'm going to be busy doing some other stuff, so there probably won't be an impromptu pause show or a regular pause show on Wednesday. Let's just have a look in the chat. Jack Stafford says, fun stream, Pug. Thanks. Glad you enjoyed it. Earthmine says, take care. Any criticism? Any criticism? Niobe asks, is there an after stream somewhere? I'm not sure. I'm not sure, Niobe. Matt C asks, what's a backer? Liam, embracing the League of Liam, says, the Liam Legion lives. And Jabba, of course, says, nobody gives a fuck. And great show, Spunk. Thanks, guys. Thanks for sticking around. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I will see you guys when I see you. Good night.